conversation just based on our crowd, which was a good thing. We'd made some good plays and we got loud in Bartow. But as long as you give me about a 7-second delay and pay any fee to the FCA, I'm good to go. Or what is it?
FCC. But give it to the FCA. That's a great organization.
Yeah. That's a good one too.
Yeah, better than the FCC. All right, UAB is at North Texas, 8 o'clock. You could see the game on ESPNU. All right, so I know most of you can't make it to Denton, Texas for that one coming up Wednesday, but you can see the game on ESPNU, 8 o'clock, UAB at North Texas, 8 o'clock ESPNU. Congrats on the win, Coach. Good to talk to you again, as always.
Hey, thank you, guys. See you soon.
All right, buddy, take care. That is Coach Andy Kennedy, the UAB head basketball coach, joins us each week, courtesy of Legacy Credit Union.
Yeah, LegacyCreditUnion.com. Take that credit card debt, move it over to Legacy, no balance transfer fee, and get 2.9% APR for 6 months, so you can pay off that credit card, and then you got a great Legacy credit card with 8.9% APR. Subject to details there, go to LegacyCreditUnion.com, federally insured by the NCUA. Final thoughts right here before we get done. So we got the Chiefs and the 49ers in 2 weeks. Before that, we have all the jocularity of the Pro Bowl flag football game and all that down in Orlando. We got the Senior Bowl this week. But then we'll get to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl. That becomes, I think it's the 11th state to host the Super Bowl. I have it written down here, so let me get the details here.
Texas, California, Florida, obviously, New York, Michigan.
Indianapolis. Or Indiana being the state.
11th state is Nevada. Which one's hosted it the most?
Georgia, 7. Louisiana, 8.
I think it's either the Orange or the Superdome that has had the most, or Miami or New Orleans has had the most. I'm going to say it's...
Which state?
Yeah, California's
I'm going to go Florida because you've had Jacksonville, Tampa, and Miami 4 or 5 times.
I'm going to go California.
It is Florida. They've hosted it the most times.
Yeah.
Because
go for sunshine.
Orange Bowl has been done. It seems like it's the most locations.
Yeah, that and the Superdome, I think, are the most, if I'm not mistaken.
Pasadena had it once. Coliseum had a couple.
Stanford Stadium had it once.
Right.
Miami played in Palo Alto.
And we played at that horrible place that the 49ers call home.
So
Santa Clara, Levi Stadium. They played it at the old Tulane Stadium. Rice's home stadium in Houston hosted a Super Bowl
early on. Yeah.
We did a bookend trip to Las Vegas just last month. I can't imagine. Like, Las Vegas doesn't need an event like the Super Bowl.
Well, they had, what was it? The driver told us 8 million people coming in for New Year's Eve. 8 million new people coming in for New Year's Eve.
Well, I think that's what you're going to get for the Super Bowl. That's a big weekend anyway. That's where Charles Barkley spends his Super Bowl weekends.
It's Vegas anyway,
because there's so many big parties out there and so many big watch parties at sports books. But now, how many people are going to come in just to be around the atmosphere that's Super Bowl?
And that's, I guess, why the teams are staying 25 miles away on Lake Las Vegas. We look forward to that. We'll have some fun stuff leading up to the Super Bowl, as we always do here on our platform. Remember, give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Everything going on here. Thank you so much to Herm Edwards, who was on the show earlier. If you want anything from Herm, get it wherever you get our podcasts. And, of course, we just had AK on as well. Auburn, 2-game skid in the SEC after leading the SEC this time last week. 2 tough games on the road to Bama and Mississippi State. They're back home later this week. The Tide goes on the road to a Georgia team that let one get away after they got it to overtime in Florida. And then we just talked to AK about that big win for UAB. Fun show today. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Remember, like, thumbs up, and all that stuff. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel, where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Take the Next Round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Live show now on a Tuesday, and I don't know how your workplace is. We're dealing with some flu and stuff that's bouncing around up here. So look where Lunsford is today in place of Rockstar and Tyler. We're 3 deep now. 3 deep. And there's Forrester in the back.
So this is our emergency quarterback.
This is it.
And I was thinking, I was like, damn, I know Lunsford's up playing poker late, but he's going to be behind the board. But if Lunsford was to go down, who was up? Is it Brown?
No. We had another emergency plan. Brown knows we'd be dead in the water back there.
Taylor Korn.
I think we just don't do a show at some point.
Taylor was emergency trained for Monday Morning Live just in case Rockstar and Tyler didn't make it one morning. So I guess she's QB4 maybe?
Boy, that'd be shaky.
There's also
12.
somebody in a couple of days that can be
Okay.
the emergency to the emergency backup.
Oh, you know what? We could have put a bag on his head.
Yeah.
What is
With some air holes.
Yeah, he could have been like an Aints fan.
So we can quit saying 12 on Thursday. Am I right about that?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, good.
I can't wait till that happens. We'll get into amazing television ratings from the Championship Sunday coming up. But the winner of the ratings wasn't the one you thought it was going to be. Brown's got those numbers for us later on, and we'll go down to Mobile and talk about the Senior Bowl. Stephen Pearl is in the next segment. Segment number 2 today. We'll talk Auburn basketball, where they are, and getting ready for a home game and then another big Quad 1 road game at Ole Miss coming up this weekend. So Stephen in the next segment. But we do start with a little Auburn here. They've got their defensive coordinator, long rumored, finally official. It's DJ Durkin, who's coming over. And I'm sure you guys are like I am. Before Nick Saban retired, you'd heard buzz about DJ Durkin being on Nick Saban's staff in Tuscaloosa. Saban retires, a longtime defensive coordinator, well-respected in the industry, now with Hugh Freeze at Auburn.
Yeah, not real sure why he's well-respected in the industry. I don't know why Alabama wanted to hire him. It's a weird hire for Auburn.
Saban's always liked it.
I know. It doesn't make any sense. It is a weird hire for Auburn. And I'm not even talking about the PR, aspect of it with the whole Maryland deal. I'm just saying this guy's numbers don't support the way he's always thought of. I have not figured DJ Durkin out. Like, the dude never has good defenses, but everybody's like, this guy's an excellent defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I thought A&M's defense was good this year.
It improved.
Yeah, it did improve. I mean, it was 3rd in total defense in the SEC behind only Alabama and Georgia. I think it was 5th, tied for 5th with Ole Miss in scoring defense, most important category. But this is a guy that's been a defense coordinator of 4 different stops in the SEC. He knows the territory. He does have head coaching experience. I think the PR is kind of gone. I think he's respected. I don't know how good of a defense coordinator he is, but if Auburn could get up to where A&M's numbers were last year with what Hugh Freeze should be able to do offensively, that would be a major improvement.
Yeah, the weirdest year was not 2023 with him, but 2022, where he led the conference in pass defense, was dead last in the conference in rushing defense. Like, you don't normally see that combo. Like, 14 out of 14 against the run. Anybody could run that wanted to run. 1 out of 14 against the pass, which probably told you not many people chose to pass because they could run all they wanted.
That's all you got to do is run.
That's right. Yeah. So, I don't know, man. He's had – I will say this. He's had 2 scoring defenses finish in the top 50 nationally, and both of them were at A&M. So he's at least on a heater right now.
Yeah, but when he was at Ole Miss, I mean, obviously in that situation, you've got a offensive-minded coach and a style of play that and a roster that usually did not produce a lot of great defensive players. You didn't go 11 wide, 11 strong, 11 Warriors if you're an Ohio State fan out there on defense that compares to the best of the best. I think he inherits a roster that is going to need some work on that defensive side.
Yeah, he does not want you to use his Ole Miss numbers. I can promise you that. Those are the ones he wants you to forget, that he was ever defensive coordinator at Ole Miss. Don't pretend like that never happened.
But I think that's some of a product of the way, Lane Kiffin likes to play football sometimes, that you can get into a situation offensively that it hurts your defensive numbers if you're just going by stats. I've always liked the guy, X's and O's. I wanted to get to just grading Hugh Freeze's off season right now. since we last saw them in the Iron Bowl, that last play, heartbreaker for Auburn fans. The bowl game's sort of a throwaway in that situation, but, it was what it was. Hugh Freeze now, after National Signing Day, the portal, the coaching staff changes. How do you think Hugh Freeze's offseason has gone so far?
So Ryan Williams is a massive loss.
Well, it was never there to lose.
If Auburn fans believed they were going to get Ryan Williams. I mean, our belief was once he came into or decommitted from Alabama after Saban's retirement, it seemed like Auburn was going to be that destination.
But they've already got 2 great, 4- and 5-star receivers. So.
Yeah, recruiting and they're doing victory laps in their recruiting. So obviously they felt recruiting went very well, and they're publicizing that. And I do think Hugh Freeze turned that around and got it headed very much in the right direction.
Despite the fine print on that graphic.
Yeah, don't get lost to that.
It is still a good recruiting class.
Yeah, their recruiting efforts, Lance, before Hugh Freeze got there, were not good at all. Late Gus Malzahn, the entire Harsin era, recruiting had slipped. So he had to build that back up, and I think he has done that.
And there are some services that have Cam Coleman, a higher-rated wide receiver, coming out than Ryan Williams. But I think more importantly, if I'm an Auburn fan, you got to have confidence in your coach because Hugh Freeze is a guy that obviously knows offense, but I am still really weary on what's going on with the quarterback. Like, why is Peyton Thorne still projected as QB1?
Yeah, I was told that got better as the year went on. Hugh's comfortable with him, and that the talent around him is going to be better, and they think with the better talent around him, you will see the best of Peyton Thorne this year.
But why wouldn't you just go out and get a better quarterback?
I don't know.
I think, it's going to get magnified because all of the departures basically in the offseason, save Philip Montgomery and Ron Roberts, so I guess all is a bad word to use. There were a number of departures that were former Auburn guys that are Auburn lifers.
2 of those, and then 2 coordinators.
3 if you count Trevon Reed, who was not an on-the-field coach. But Zach Etheridge, Carnell Williams, and Trevon Reed all gone from the program. And that was your connection to past Auburn football. Now, and I've said this about Alabama as it relates to Kalen DeBoer, and I'll say the same thing about Auburn. You should just hire guys because they played at your school.
Yeah,
but head coach, assistant coach, whatever. That if all things are equal and he played at your school, maybe. But if him playing at your school bumps him up to be equal, that is a dumb reason to hire somebody.
Yeah, that is just typical year 2 coaching change for me. 1 year I got to keep some guys around.
You
year
have
2.
to.
That's when I move out the guys I sort of had to inherit and get to the guys I want on my coaching staff.
I don't think it was entirely that. That does happen in year 2, but I think there were some external factors that accelerated the departures of some of those guys. But, that's going to get magnified because they were former Auburn guys, and Auburn fans wanted Carnell Williams and Zach Etheridge and people like that. But Hugh Freeze ought to be able to hire who he wants regardless of where the guy played college football. He shouldn't be forced or expected – not even forced, expected to hire Auburn guys. You got to let him hire his staff. I do think Ken Austin's got a good history in quarterbacks. And to Lance's point, you need that. Your quarterback underperformed this year, so you need a guy that's got a good history in coaching quarterbacks. I think, obviously, Charles Kelly was hired to accelerate recruiting, and DJ Durkin is hired to be the defensive coordinator, even though they might share a title of some sort.
Yeah. Here's my 3 takeaways on the offseason, and I think it's all positive. 1, the recruiting class and the talent you brought in is better. Auburn's talent level on their roster was way below the SEC average. So you've gotten better at that position, and especially wide receiver. I think Ken Austin, Derek Nix coming in are 2 good assistant coaches that Hugh Freeze is very comfortable with, and Hugh's going to be calling plays. So he's comfortable with those guys helping him handle the offensive game planning, and he's going to be able to call plays. And then I like the DJ Durkin hire. Seasoned veteran guy, good recruiter. I think he's a good X's and O guy. So I like those 3 things for Auburn: the recruiting class, the offensive guys you brought in, and the fact that Hugh's going to be calling plays, and that DJ Durkin is now your defensive coordinator, a guy who you sort of understand what you're getting in the SEC. So all 3 of those things are positive for me this offseason for you.
You're higher on Durkin than I am.
I am.
And that's going to.
I'm in the middle between you guys.
Yeah, that's going to change, or it's going to be the disconnect on where you and I agree on this being all positive. And Durkin may work out. Again, statistically, he's probably coming off his 2 best years as a defensive coordinator, so I guess you're getting him at his height. But it is hard to match, again, for me, the way the guy is viewed as a defensive coordinator and his historical defenses just don't match up to me. But smart football people have always liked this guy and wanted him around, so for some reason there's a disconnect there.
Yeah, I mean, I trust Hugh Freeze. I think this is only the second worst season he's had as a head coach,
right?
Coming off the 6-7. So I would just assume, based on his track record, they are going to be much better this year.
Very interesting on the hire of DJ Durkin. That's a big story. We will talk more college football coming up a little bit later on, and a little bit from the Senior Bowl. We'll flip the script a little bit here, and get to some prep down to the Super Bowl after I tell you about tonight's big NBA action in town, G League action in town. It's Mardi Gras night at Legacy Arena with the Birmingham Squadron. You get the Windy City Bulls in town. 7 o'clock, Legacy Arena. You can get your tickets at the door if you'd like to do that, or you can go online to birminghamsquadron.com, birminghamsquadron.com, or call them up 205-719-0850. Birmingham Squadron basketball Mardi Gras night tonight. First 1,000 fans through the doors receive custom Squadron Mardi Gras beads. These are collector items there. You'll also get the stilt walkers and neon hula hoopers to entertain the fans throughout the night. Really entertaining show there, and always $5 beer in the chill zone. It's all with the Birmingham Squadron tonight. birminghamsquadron.com for details. And coming up this weekend, it's HBCU night on Saturday night, 7 o'clock at Legacy Arena. If you want to plan ahead for tickets at birminghamsquadron.com. Prop bets are going to start leaking out. This one's not available in the United States of America, but it is available in Canada.
Is this a Travis Kelce proposal on the field?
It is.
Post-game? Is it really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't seen this at all.
Wow.
But I mean,
So there is a prop on this.
You can bet it in Canada, LT. It is, will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift on the field? Right now it is minus 250. No, he will not, which would be the heavy favorite. And what you would bet on this situation, especially if you think it is all staged.
Hey, at minus 250, actually might make some pretty good money because there's a 0% chance he does.
Yeah, I would say this is not going to be an Ian Johnson, Boise State after the Fiesta Bowl, which he planned that probably the entire year. Yeah. What would be awesome is if he did propose and she said no.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I've generated, I saw this yesterday, $331 million for the NFL and the Chiefs based on social media posts and everything. I'm going to take my $50 million that I agreed to do this stupid little PR campaign, and I'm out.
Yeah, so minus 250, what's a nice, comfortable number you are, Lunsford, at throwing money down there to get a return? How much do I have to lay down to get a nice return on? Like if I threw down 1,000, how much do I win on minus 250? LT?
Is that 400?
Yeah, 400.
So I bet 1,000 to win 400.
Yeah, there's probably a limit on this, right? Number one, you got to be in Canada, apparently.
That's right.
I mean, it should be like minus 10,000 because there's no chance. But they're trying to sucker people in, so put your money out there.
Yeah, unless they've agreed to do this fake proposal.
Yeah.
And try to make some more side money that way.
Yeah, and then never get married.
And then never get married.
They break it off? Yeah, just because there's a proposal doesn't mean they get married.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Right when you said that, that's the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah, you nailed it, man. Beat me to the punch there. Television ratings from Sunday. Surprisingly, to a lot of people who think this Taylor Swift thing is pushing the ratings, the NFC Championship game beat the AFC Championship game in the television ratings.
I said this yesterday. That's what I thought would happen. Just because it was the incredible comeback and because the lead-in was the Taylor Swift game, I think it does benefit that you're playing a little later. I mean, what's going on 5:30 to Sunday night?
Now, I am not saying that you're trying to frame a story one way or the other, but it was also the highest-rated AFC Championship game ever, so it's not as if it sucked.
No.
Yeah. But the NFC Championship game, 57 million viewers on Fox. 57 million.
Are you worried about your stake bet from yesterday?
Well, yeah, I'm going to lose that stake bet, but I felt like we we needed to make one. So yeah, I went with it. And
why would you do one that you think you're going to lose?
Why do you do them when you think you're going to lose?
I mean, don't do them when I think I'm going to lose.
You've thrown so many stakes my ways over the years.
Oh no, I mean, I've given you some back like that.
I mean, I occasionally.
But you said yesterday on the air, this is not going to be the highest rated Super Bowl. Like, I don't think it does anything for the numbers. Her being in the game.
I don't think it's going to be anything to do with the Taylor Swift thing. That this thing is building in the NFL anyway. It's coming off without Taylor Swift, the most watched Super Bowl of all time. But I went with it just because. I'm hoping it's not just to get a victory lap on the Taylor Swift thing.
Okay. Well, you're not gonna, but
yeah. $57 million in the NFC, peaked at $59 million there at the end of the game. The AFC Championship game, as I mentioned, the highest ever AFC Championship game, $55 million. It's only $2 million difference, and that big of a number. That's not a massive difference.
But the NFL television ratings, even without Taylor Swift, is in a very, very sweet place right now.
Yeah, I don't know that there's anything else you can do on live TV that could get 55 or 57 million viewers outside of the AFC NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl.
That's right. That's
I really don't know.
Most viewed thing other than the Super Bowl is that now.
I really can't think of anything you could tell me this is going to be on live tonight and 57 million people would tune in to watch.
Back in the old days when there were 3 channels and they all broadcast the State of the Union and inaugurations, I don't even know what the numbers were. But I think if you put the State of the Union on every channel out there right now, or inaugurations or anything like that, I don't think 57 million people would tune in.
What is the biggest unsolved mystery right now?
I
mean, if you were to say, "Hey, look, we've got proof of
Kennedy assassination," so let's just say, okay, everything has been unsealed in the Kennedy assassination at 8:00 Eastern tonight. We are going to present everything the government knows about the Kennedy assassination. Do you think 57? But you got to do it on one network now because it's CBS only or Fox only.
Yeah, your problem would be.
And CBS has bought exclusive rights for the United States government to air this. Do you think 57 million people would watch?
Doubt it because I think under 40, nobody really cares about it. I think if you came out and you were like, we have proof that there are aliens out there,
aliens, I think is the one. If you teased it like the government teased it, and there's like a lot of legitimate people teasing, and oh, by the way, you're actually going to see the alien, or they're going to talk to us.
Yeah, the alien is going to talk to us tonight at 9:00 Eastern, 8:00 Central.
So Dunaway, you're telling me that 57 million wouldn't tune in to watch a president do a State of the Union, but they would to watch an alien address the nation? Okay.
Yeah, easily.
The State of the Union is predictable, right?
And no joke that they're two in the same. I will tell you, we get that girl from game day too to walk the alien from the bus towards the stage. When we come back, the alien will talk to us.
Thanks to NetJets for flying in the alien today.
I think the alien would do it.
Yeah.
But there's not much more.
TV ratings are really good. And before we take our first break and get to Stephen Pearl in the next segment to talk a little college basketball, one amazing stat that is still out there involving the Super Bowl after Brownie tells us about our friends at the World of Wills.
It is coming to the BJCC February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It is the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills. You can see great cars, custom cars you might not see anywhere else. Mick Foley is there on Friday night. Ken Digg from Ken Diggett Design. Saturday, Jerry Mathers, the Beeve, is there on Sunday. WorldOfWills.net for all the information. WorldOfWills.net. You can also get tickets at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. Discount tickets there. So go to any O'Reilly Auto Parts store locally and get discount tickets. February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the BJCC. Tons of stuff for the family. Free stuff for kids. You can see it all at the World of Wills and see everything at worldofwills.net. O'Reilly Auto Parts, World of Wills, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of February, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the BJCC.
And I apologize to everyone in the chat room. I have not shaved since Friday morning, I guess. I just haven't felt good.
Are they all talking about that over there?
Not feeling good. I know I can't grow a beard and stuff. I just haven't felt like shaving. Haven't felt good.
What's wrong with you?
Sore throat today. Not feeling good. Been drowsy since Sunday.
Next.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, he's next. Yeah.
Are you going down too?
He is. There's no doubt.
My birthday was Saturday, and I literally didn't get out of bed. I was dying all day long. Yeah, so I'm on the back end of it. Luckily.
I had to apologize to Kelsey and Taylor after our meeting yesterday because the last hour I was up here, I don't remember what I said. I was so just drained and wore out. And I went home. I went to sleep at 7 o'clock last night and woke up this morning at 5:45, just straight through the night.
Oh, that's pretty incredible.
So I feel horrible, but fighting through it. Pearl is next. Here is, I may do a shot of whiskey, Greg. Good call. From the Associated Press this morning, we've talked about it for several years on our show. 49ers and Chiefs, they don't have any Alabama players on their roster. So the streak is going to continue that no player who finished college at Alabama has scored a point in the Super Bowl ever. 0.
As somebody pointed out on Twitter when you sent this out, and I'd have to go look who it was, he said, technically neither is Joe Montana. So you can't put that stat in perspective.
That's right. Unless Montana's quarterback sneak, Joe Namath quarterback sneak, Kenny Stabler, I guess, did not quarterback sneak.
Yep.
So Julio Jones did not score a touchdown?
Yep. Bart Starr didn't score a touchdown, I guess. I mean, this stat's out here every year, and I don't know if the key word is finished college there or what, but I assume Bart Starr, Joe Namath, all of them have their degree. But they were MVPs. The first 3 Super Bowl MVPs were from Alabama.
Yeah, but they threw touchdown passes. They didn't necessarily score the touchdown.
Right? That is the catch. 143 other colleges, as they point out on the Associated Press today, from Coast Guard to Miami, have all scored in the Super Bowl.
Coast Guard.
I thought in that Falcon Super Bowl Julio scored, but I guess not.
Yeah,
well, if we would have one more time.
Yep. Hurts graduated. See, Tom's right. Hurts graduated from Alabama. He got his degree.
But I think that's why they say finish their career. He's finished his career at Oklahoma.
Finished college at Alabama.
College.
Yeah, it doesn't say about degree. Finished college.
Yeah, he finished college at Oklahoma.
Yeah,
so Hurts would be the guy.
Yeah, Hurts is the guy. That's the fine print there from the Associated Press. Stephen Pearl, we got SEC basketball tonight, but Auburn and Alabama do not play until tomorrow. Bama with a tricky one on the road at Georgia. Auburn back home at Neville. We'll talk to Stephen Pearl about how good Neville Arena looks after 2 losses on the road when we come back on the show that's being brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. This is TNR.
Never miss anything Auburn. Watch Village Vice at Wardam Pods on YouTube and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to The Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our not-for-all-ages podcasts like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Bandwagon wants to remind you that baseball and softball season is right around the corner and their shelves are stocked with everything your kid needs. From grip tape to gloves to custom uniforms, Bandwagon has all the gear, big and small, for those ballpark days. Until February 3rd, you spend $100 on baseball or softball equipment and Bandwagon will give you $20 off. Just tell them the Next Round sent you. Visit locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trustful, or go online to bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
college football terms, a pretty big day for the Big 12. Coming up at the top of the hour, 10 a.m. Central Time, they'll release their first expanded Big 12 football contract for schedule for this upcoming year. So there are 7 games that were already scheduled between now Big 12 schools that will be out of conference games. But the new schedule is coming up. Our friends at Precision Sports Medicine or Orthopedics get you back in the game, whether you've tweaked something this holiday season or maybe you've sprained something playing pickleball or pickup basketball. You can get back right with our friends at Precision Sports, 205-512-3885, or go to precisionsportsortho.com/2024. Orthopedic care is better together. Find your provider today. That phone number, 205-512-3885 or precisionsportsortho.com/2024.
Auburn Associate Head Coach Stephen Pearl joins us at this time every Tuesday. He's kind to do so on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Welcome in, Coach. Hope you're doing well today.
What's going on, fellas?
Not a whole lot. I know it's good to be back in Auburn. A couple of tough stops on the road with close losses. And, we bring it up all the time. It is really, really, really difficult to play road games in college basketball. I know that's no excuse. You did not play your best games, but that is the truth. It's hard to play road games in conference basketball.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the top 10 last week and this week, 9 of the top 10 teams in the country have all lost at least 2 or 3 games on the road so far this season. So it just speaks to, life on the roads. It's no joke. And especially in our league where, every single night's a battle. And, you go play, Alabama, who by every metric is a top 10 team in the country. It's a one possession game. We have a free throw to tie it with like 16 seconds left. And, we don't execute and, we lose that one. And then we go to Mississippi State, a team that beat the best team in our conference, Tennessee, at home. And, it's a one possession game under a minute left. And, we had our opportunities and, we didn't capitalize and didn't take advantage. And, there's obviously a lot of things that, we need to correct and we need to fix and get better at. But, we put ourselves in position to be in position in both of those games. And, we just didn't execute down the stretch.
We've talked about the depth of this team before, but it seems like the strength is Janai and Jalen. And you look at the last 2 games, you guys have got 49 3-point attempts. I think 24 against Bama, 25 against Mississippi State. A lot of people that are kind of layman's like myself would look back and say, why so many attempts from the perimeter?
I mean, that's not a lot of attempts from 3. 25 attempts from 3 is like a pretty low number if you look at college basketball. We're shooting 30-something% from 3. 25 attempts on the road is not a lot of 3-point attempts, in my opinion. We got to shoot a better percentage. It's not like we're taking bad shots, honestly. Like, you look at all of our attempts just from watching our film, like, we got to make a lot more shots, to be completely honest with you, But part of that, too, I mean, Janai had 15 attempts from 2 in the Alabama game. Jalen Williams, for the first time all year, kind of came back down to earth and showed that he was actually human for the first time this year. And he had just being perfectly honest, he had a really bad week, and we lost because of it. It's just when Jalen doesn't play well, we're going to struggle. And he's more than accountable for that. Like, he knew that he didn't have his best stuff last week, and he did not help us. And that's the first time he's done that all year. So he's allowed to pass. Our guys have got to pick him up. Janai Broome was unbelievable last week in both games. At the Alabama game, he was unstoppable. 25 and 14, 5 block shots. And then he goes to Mississippi State and defends Tolu Smith, who's one of the most dominant bigs in the country, and holds him under 10 points and did an unbelievable job of limiting his post touches and was very efficient in the touches that he got. But as far as our 3-point attempts, like, we've always been a team that shoots inside 3s and outside 3s. So we're not going to go away from that, even though 2 of our better players are our frontline players. It's something that our guards have just got to do a better job of making shots on the road. I hate being right, but I think I said this on the show a couple weeks ago. What's the recipe for losing? It's us missing shots. And our guards, just did a really bad job of making open shots in these games. And, you look at the 2 games, if we make 1 or 2 more 3s in each game, we feel a lot different about where we're sitting right now. So I don't think we shot too many 3 balls. We took, I think a lot of them were open shots. There was a couple contested ones, but overall I thought we got pretty good shots. We just got to do a better job of making them.
BP talked a lot during the win streak about maybe we're not as good as it looks like we are right now. You sometimes learn a little bit about your team after a week like last week. So tell me, how's the team reacting to that emotional loss in Tuscaloosa? You guys stay on the road and then Starkville. You're back at practice this week. How's the reaction? How's the locker room? You like what you're seeing from the guys?
I mean, it's a lot of the same. I mean, like our guys, like, no, they don't get too high, they don't get too low, which is the great thing about kids is, 20 minutes after a game, they're fine. And we're freaking miserable for the next, until we play the next game. So, like, they bounce back quickly, but coach says that every year. If you guys haven't been paying any attention, like even when we were going to the Final Four, he said we sucked. So, he's pretty consistent in his messaging there. But yeah, I mean, you eloquently pointed out, Jim, that I guess we haven't played anybody this year or beaten anybody this year. Well, we've beaten 7 top 100 teams by 18 points. So, we've beaten the teams on our schedule, and it's hard to win on the road. And, that's the good news. The bad news is we had a real opportunity this week to separate ourselves from the rest of this league, and we didn't take advantage of it. But, we can't overreact because, at the end of the day, like those 2 games right there, if you looked at our schedule, were probably 2 of the games we were most likely, besides the Tennessee game, to take an L on, honestly, just looking at the whole schedule. So it's not something that wasn't supposed to happen, but we had an opportunity to really separate ourselves and get one on the field, and we didn't take advantage. We didn't capitalize.
Stephen Pearl, Auburn Associate Head Coach, with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You get Vandy again now. You've seen them once, and it wasn't too long ago. How does that complicate things or help things or whatever when you face a team twice in basically a 2-week span?
I mean, the fact that they're so close together actually makes it better for both teams because not a lot's changed since the first game. But you look at they're playing, they're up 5 against Tennessee, who's a top 2 or 3 team in the country at home. So like they're playing decent basketball right now. Besides a few halves where they've let things get away, they've won 1/2 of every game in SEC play so far. So, it's still a dangerous team. They run a lot of really good actions, a lot of really good sets, but when games are so closely packed together like this, it's a little bit easier on us because there's not a lot that changes in the game plan, and there's a little more familiarity with the scouts. The guys, recognize, what it is. The challenge is, we went up there and we were beating them pretty good most of the game. We can't overlook these guys. These guys are capable of beating anyone in our league. So we got to obviously be excited about playing. Got to find a way to get this one and just get back, on track.
Sadly, 8 o'clock tip times. I find myself deep in the second half trying to keep my eyes open. It's just indictment on me getting older. As a coach, though, would you rather have a 6 o'clock tip, 8 o'clock tip during the week, and on Saturdays? What's the preferred tip time for you?
I mean, yeah, it would be nice in a perfect world to have a 6 o'clock midweek tip and then like a 3 o'clock Saturday tip. The late games really suck. The 7:30 games on Saturdays suck, especially when you're on the road because you don't get back until super late. 5 o'clock's, kind of in between, but the 11 a.m. games are always tough. So if you had a, 6 o'clock game, 3 o'clock game, midweek Saturday, that'd be ideal. But, it's just, we've had a lot of late tips this year, a lot of 8 o'clock tips. So our guys are pretty, are used to it at this point. And we've had, a later Saturday slate as well. I think we play again at 5 o'clock on Saturday against Ole Miss. So it's something our guys are used to. It's just kind of, luck of the draw and based off what TV gives you.
You got a veteran team that's played a lot of college basketball, but you do have some young guys like Holloway. Do you check in with them occasionally just to explain to them the grind of the season, how long this season, especially an SEC season, can be?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's talked about every day. It's just a matter of them experiencing it for themselves. Like, you can tell them over and over that it's a grind, but when we're 5-0 and blowing teams out, like, it doesn't feel like it's a grind. Last week was a grind because, you go to Alabama and, obviously a very emotional game, high stakes. We feel like, we were in a really good spot to win the game. We lose that game, and then we got to stay on the road for a couple of days, which we've never done before, and have to, stay in Tuscaloosa an extra night and, go to a high school gym to work on our scout. And our whole process is really, just changed at that point. And then we got to travel to Starkville and then play probably one of the most physical teams in the country in Mississippi State on their home floor. like last week was a grind for some of our guys, and I think that really, make them realize, holy crap, like this is no joke. So more about them experiencing it and kind of seeing it for themselves. And I think last week, they had a good taste of it, and they, really realized, what this is going to be like for the next, however 11 games that we have left in the rest of the season.
Listen, I know the rate of that hotel, your team hotel in Tuscaloosa. Do y'all get a special rate at Saban's hotel there? No. Because that's like $750 to $3,000 a night, depending on what weekend you're there.
Yeah, no, we definitely didn't get any special rates or any special discounts, but the staff did an unbelievable job of taking care of us, and we're very accommodating, and it was quite the wake-up call, a reality check when we went from the Alamite to the La Quinta Inn in Starkville, Mississippi. So,
I mean, when Taylor and I were going over to get you guys doing the reverse tiger walk in a monsoon, by the way, and she's like, okay, the team hotel is this, and I was like, there's no way. You've got bad information. They're not staying at that hotel. And she goes, Jim, 100%. She showed me the text, and so we went to the hotel, and that's where you were staying. I was amazed. I love the Auburn budget there.
They've got a good budget. Hey, back to what Dunaway.
The rates during basketball season aren't the rates during football season. So let's make sure that's very crystal clear.
Hey, Steve,
it was more than a La Quinta, I guarantee you.
You freeze team. Back
to Aiden Holloway, and this is a guy that's got a ton of upside. And you've seen, against USC, Indiana. I mean, he was on fire behind the arc, but he's missed a lot of shots. In practice, is this a guy that wows you guys, and his ability, and just right now shots sometimes aren't falling?
Yeah, I mean, I think every time, like we keep saying this as a staff, every time Aiden shoots it, we still think it's going in. That's due to the amount of time that he puts in, the work he puts in, and like you said, like in practice, like he's still making those shots. Yeah, I think part of it is just he's being keyed on, game in and game out. He's a big part of the scouting report, and they're not going to let him get off anything easy. Maybe like he did early in the season before the scouting report was out there on him. So, the biggest thing that we can do is just continue to show confidence in Aiden. In that second half against Mississippi State, I thought he, made some really big plays for us, hit a couple of big threes. We were down 4. He made a huge advance pass to Denver Jones in the corner, really heads-up play. Like, he's starting to make strides. It's just a matter of, continuing to gain confidence in his stroke and seeing it go in big games, in big situations. So, it's something that, we're 16-4. And to be honest, like in our first 7 games in the SEC, we haven't shot the ball very well. And coming into the season, like we thought that we were going to be a much better offensive team than we were a defensive team. And, we had the number 5 defense in the country. And, the one thing that we can kind of hang our hat on, and, it's frustrating because we go to Mississippi State and Alabama. We hold both those teams to their worst home game offensive efficiency that they had the entire season. When you do that, you're supposed to win. And that's what was incredibly frustrating for us is like I thought we guarded. We played hard. Where we didn't execute defensively is at the very end of the game. We missed some big checkouts, and our guards are largely responsible for that. Alabama got a couple of late tip-in dunks and offensive rebounds. So did Mississippi State because our guards didn't check out. So it's the little things like that really change games. But when shots start falling in for guys like Aiden and Denver and Chad, obviously that'll make a huge difference in us winning and losing these close games.
That hoodie is straight fire. Is that available to the general public or just the coaches?
This actually, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this. This is Champion brand, not Under Armour. So okay. I think I found this at like a alumni hall in Auburn. So
okay,
it was available. This might be a few years old. So
all right, yeah, okay. So we'll ignore the fact that it's not the right brand.
Hey, way to go, Brown. Call him out.
I know.
I've gone like a full month without bringing Nelly up. Has Nelly gotten a sibling yet?
So, all right, exciting news. I want to say it's her brother is now breeding with her, like another whatever. So I guess like Nelly, we're going to get another puppy, and it's going to be like Nelly's niece.
Okay, can I warn you?
From the same breeder.
Wow.
Like, I didn't know.
I mean, I saw that you have 2, and I saw I got a lot of crap from the podcast when you were doing it from home. Like they were climbing all over you, and I didn't mention anything. So everybody was saying that I was anti-Vizsla. So I apologize for that. How are your two doing?
Okay, so hey, Forrester, I don't know if you can pull the Hardman spot real quick. I don't know if he could see it.
He will not be able to see it.
Oh, never mind. They are. I always wondered because I had one, and she has since moved to Atlanta. So I rescued two more, boy, girl.
Yep.
And when I had the one, I was like, I wonder if I had a second if they would work off the energy on each other. One is the way to go. Yeah. Now, you might get lucky, but I will tell you the two are – these guys were over on Sunday watching AFC NFC Championship. I mean, how wild are they?
Coach, I watched one half of the NFC Championship and excuse myself. It is constant. I can't express to you how constantly those dogs are in motion.
It's two velociraptors going head to head.
There's just no rest for anybody.
Anytime they came in the room, we had a friend there, Lauren Sisler. You know her with the SEC Network and ESPN. I grabbed her newborn baby and saved the baby every time they come running downstairs.
To pick it up every time.
Yeah. It's like Simba.
Hey, their athleticism is amazing. Like Brown was like, holy hell, like how did that dog jump that far?
Yeah,
but it'll go on a zoom around my downstairs and it'll leap from the kitchen all the way across the couch.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it in Huntsville when we get this. I mean, I think the decision's already been made. I've been left out of it, but we're getting another one. So thank you for warning me. But I think once we get our second one, I think we do a Vizsla day in the Next Round Studios and just let them have the Zoomies for an entire episode of us just doing a show.
Would love it.
Yeah, bring them up. That'll be fun.
I say that would be better outside at Jordan-Hare Stadium. We'll just let them have a run to the stadium.
We'll come to you.
Perfect.
All right, Neville Arena, it's always sold out, but go support Auburn. ESPN2, 8 o'clock against Vanderbilt on Wednesday night. Coach, thank you very much for the time. Look forward to doing it again next week.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate you guys. War Eagle.
All right, take care. That is Stephen Pearl, the associate head coach there of the Auburn Tigers, with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Big takeaway is don't panic. Where you are with Auburn basketball right now.
No, I would say this too about Aiden Holloway. I've been pretty critical on a lot of the shots he's missed, but just imagine if he starts hitting these shots, how good this team's going to be.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And he's one of those, he's a freshman from Charlotte, and it's a grind of a season, and it was different last week. You played two really good, rough environments, two good teams. You stay on the road an extra day. How physical Mississippi State is on the inside. It was a different week last week. Again, you don't panic where you are right now. It's a long, long season. And that Final Four team was nowhere near where this team is right now. That team didn't get hot until much later in the season.
I was actually thinking about that as I was watching Texas last night. They've lost at BYU and to Houston. That's two really good basketball teams they've lost to. But they lost to both of them. And I'm like, I wonder if their fans, because that's a big football state, if they're acting the way fans do in this state, who I do think, you've mentioned this before, and you're one of the first I've heard to say this, is that we overreact to a singular loss because we're football fans.
That's right.
And basketball, a singular loss isn't that big a deal. Back-to-back losses aren't that big a deal. Teams do it all the time in college basketball.
Hey, in fact, you sort of want to lose some games along the way, right?
Yeah.
Because eventually, unless you're the 76 Indiana Hoosiers, eventually you're going to lose a basketball game.
Now, Texas has got bigger issues. I brought Texas up. They're not a very good team, but I'm just saying, I just wonder if fans around the country act the way fans do sometimes in this state. And I'm as bad as any.
Yeah.
I'll overreact to a loss or two just because I'm so used to football. One loss is a big deal.
We all fall under the Taylor Corn line, though. That if she's the emotional line of where you need to be after a loss, we're all under her. She takes every loss personal.
Yeah, he talked about the players bouncing back and the coach was miserable to the next game. I always say the coaches and our social media director.
Yes. For a long, long time. All right, show being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. One more thing this segment before we take a break after that. I had to look and find the clock here. Tell me about Hemp Hill.
205-229-2090. That is the number you need to call. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Hard to stop a train. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Of course, just to put into context, he says the players bounce back quickly. The coaches, it bothers them for a long time. Nick Saban's retirement, I think Alabama fans are still trying to deal with that. Nick Saban seems to be doing okay. Yesterday playing at Reggie Jackson's Mr. October charity golf tournament, celebrity golf tournament, one post after another from the stars there. And look at, these are all the celebrities who are playing in the event. And who do they stick in the middle? There's old Nick Saban right in the middle. And the pictures come rolling in. In fact, Nick Saban here with Travis Scott and 50 cents.
Yeah.
He went plural.
Did you go plural? 50 cents?
50 cents?
I don't think he's a full dollar yet.
Yeah, there's him and Ozzie.
Yeah.
The great coach Nick Saban here playing some golf to help Reggie Jackson raise funds.
The first photo I saw was Kristen, his daughter, sent out. He and Travis Scott and 50 Cent. And I know, I was like, Nick Saban, I know where he plays, and Travis Scott and 50 Cent could get on that course easily, but how random would it be that he joins up with Travis Scott 50 Cent? I had no idea it was a charity golf tournament, so I was extremely confused.
Yeah, what's going on?
And how that went down, yeah. Now that once I found out it was Reggie Jackson's tournament, it made far more sense. But the first photo I saw, I'm like, what are the odds he played up on Travis Scott and 50 Cent just out playing a normal round of golf? That probably did not happen.
So Nick Saban, man, having a good time, playing a lot of golf in his retirement. His mansion, Brown, is it near the Floridian golf course? Or?
Oh, yeah, a lot of golf courses. Yeah. It's in Jupiter. Some of the top golf courses in the world are in a very close proximity, I should say, to his mansion there.
So he doesn't have to drive far.
He ain't slumming it, I promise you.
Yeah, so Nick Saban with his signature hat out on the golf course yesterday, which is better than
working every day.
I guess than recruiting is what he would be doing right now. I guess today you'd be making the trip down to the Senior Bowl, wouldn't he?
That's right, yeah.
Maybe he shows up there too. Who knows? Back in a moment right here on TNR.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Are you ready for a winning season in your finances? Legacy Credit Union is bringing you a slam dunk deal on their credit cards. Apply for their balance transfer and pay zero balance transfer fees. That's right, there is no balance transfer fees, and they're offering a jaw-dropping 2.99% APR for the first 6 months. Whether you're looking to clear the cord of those holiday expenses or just wanting to streamline your finances, apply online today, LegacyCreditUnion.com. Annual percentage rate, terms and conditions may apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCAA.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round hosts a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, presented by Redmont Vodka. LT has in-depth conversations with personalities like Klay Travis and Taylor Hicks. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple and Spotify. And remember to like and subscribe.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call. LT takes off the gloves for an in-depth conversation with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Back with you on the next round as we continue on today. We're about to talk a little NFL Senior Bowl in just a second, but in NFL history, before LT tells us about Woodhouse, on this day in history, 30 years ago, it was the 4th straight Super Bowl loss for the Buffalo Bills.
But breaks my heart.
4 straight years.
I hated to watch that unfold.
But on this day in history, in 2000,
I know what it was.
what happened?
The Rams won their first ever Super Bowl. I was there in Atlanta. I was telling somebody this yesterday. It might have been AG. I went for the entire week. I was working at Jockson.
That was Rams-Titans, right?
And I remember I did hits with the Morning Express, Matt Coulter and Scott Griffin.
How about
It was
that?
Rams-Titans. And I remember I slept in my buddy Mike Mondelli's attic, me and my ex-wife, Bethany.
In his attic?
Yeah, like they had like one of those, like almost a mother-in-law suite in the attic.
Oh, okay.
So we stayed up there.
I mean, it was studded out and drywalled, right? You weren't like sleeping actually in
I
it.
got my first Super Bowl tickets. I met Steve Susi at the Hard Rock downtown Atlanta. It was a freeze, but it was still a really high-priced ticket. And I remember we were at the Cobalt Lounge the night before Ray Lewis allegedly put that knife in that guy.
Oh, so you were there
Yeah,
the night before, not that same night.
Could have been you.
No. Oh, yeah. You mean he could have put the knife in me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The no, not doing the killing. Did you think Kevin Dyson had scored? Was it Kevin Dyson?
Yeah, I was in that end zone.
So you knew he had not gotten in?
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
I was so
Were you
scared
nervous as
during
he
that.
caught it, though?
Oh, yeah. And there was an incredible tackle by Mike Jones, by the way. I was so nervous when McNair was coming down on that drive that they were going to score and actually go for 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, I had put so much energy into the Rams up until that point. That's why, I can't feel sorry for myself. Back to Little T being such a over-the-top fan and how hard I took the Detroit loss this year. Because you think about San Francisco hasn't won one in 30 years. You haven't won one in 50 years.
That is correct.
I mean, won since 2020.
You and I are fortunate that we've had 2 championships. The Rams, if they somehow would have made Vegas, would have been the second. So there are 3 teams that have been to 4 out of 5 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. Rams would have done it 3 times in 5 years.
Speaking of the Super Bowl in Vegas, according to SeatGeek, not our friends at ATIX, the cheapest ticket they've got to get in right now is $9,446. The average ticket price is going for $11,606 right now. It goes all the way up to around $43,000 ticket.
This is really sad. So I went the last time to see a Super Bowl in 2018, Super Bowl 53, and I spent way too much money on 2 tickets. And the Rams ended up losing 13-3. And so when they came back to SoFi, I really wanted to go, but I was about to have to dip into some serious retirement, kids' education, those kind of funds. They have outpriced the normal fan. And I feel bad for you when you're Dolphins. Hopefully you'll be in a financial spot where $10,000 a ticket is not a big deal, but I can't afford that. So I'll probably never go to a Super Bowl again. It's unfortunate, but it's supply and demand.
And a smaller stadium, too, right? What does this one hold?
In Vegas,
62 maybe?
62, 60. It's got to be a certain number.
Yeah.
And I think this is the smallest one that'll ever host a Super Bowl.
But think about this. I was on TikTok last night, and one of the videos.
65 expands to 72. I don't know if any of that includes Super Bowl, though.
Yeah, if they're doing 72. But think about this. I was watching on TikTok last night, and one of the videos was the NBC Open with the great Dick Enberg for Buffalo and Dallas at the Rose Bowl, Super Bowl at the actual Rose Bowl stadium. And Dick Enberg said there'll be 102,000 people here today, largest Super Bowl crowd of all time. So they used to play in bigger stadiums. Yeah. I mean, 102,000, and bare minimum, you're backing out 30,000 people.
Yeah,
I mean that's going to increase that price dramatically.
But tightens it up a lot.
They've the way they allot tickets is different because I got this in 2018 when I met Steve Susi again in Atlanta to get my tickets. They don't put the tickets out until 3 days before because they want to make sure they kind of alter people selling the tickets. And it's such a corporate event now. It really, the normal person is priced out of this.
Our friends at Woodhouse are bringing you part of the show today. Tell us about Woodhouse, LT.
Woodhouse Day Spa, just an incredible gift for that significant other in your life. Valentine's Day right around the corner. You can order that gift online. Get one of those gift cards, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. The Woodhouse Day Spa, located at the Summit Shopping Centers, right off of Highway 280. Choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, and nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Get NC Stewart and that great staff. Tell them the Next Round sent you, or order online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
Just a word of warning on tickets, and we always suggest, and I did this for a friend of mine, start with our buddies at ATIX, Steve and Dan. They do tremendous work, AAATix.com. But a buddy of mine who went to high school with, one of my best friends growing up, texted me and said, hey, do you have any connections at the BJCC? I said, sure, why? He goes, well, I'm trying to get Tool tickets. The music group was Friday. They were there Friday night, I think.
Right.
And he said, and I'm not going to use, because I don't know that it's the platform's problem, so I won't use the name of the platform. But he said, I had a buyer back out last minute, or a seller back out last minute on me. He goes, the crazy thing is, and he was using the same platform, this happened to me at the Rose Bowl. He said, we get out to Pasadena, and the seller backed out at the last minute.
Yep.
So then I had to scramble and find tickets for my whole family to get into the Rose Bowl to see Alabama, Michigan. And I said, always start with ATIX.
Yeah.
I said, that's your first start. Now, they may tell you where to go buy them, but always start with ATIX.
Yeah. That means they probably had them posted on two different sites, and they sold them at the other site for a better price.
So be careful on stuff like that. Yeah. That's why we say that's who you trust is ATIX. And I gave him Steve's number, and he'll never use anybody else.
Hey, we'll talk to Klay Travis coming up in the next segment. Down in Mobile, practices on the NFL Network down here. It is Senior Bowl week. Brownie at some point is going to be talking to Daniel Jeremiah over on Disrupt the Media, that platform. Remember, like and subscribe over there. Just watching the coverage down there, and our buddy Jim Nagy, who runs the Senior Bowl and puts together the roster and everything. One guy to keep an eye on this week who may, and listen, I'm not saying he's moving into the first round, but who may improve his draft stock the most at the quarterback position. Everyone is starting to rave about Spencer Rattler a little bit.
Wow.
A guy who you have to admit played better football at South Carolina than he did at Oklahoma. And he's an older guy, but Jim and several people think this is a big week for him, and that when this week is done, that his stock will go up. Now, I don't think it's anywhere near the first round, but that he becomes a draftable quarterback.
I mean, this is one heck of a reclamation project. From where he was at Oklahoma when he transferred to South Carolina, I was blown away at the play he gave South Carolina.
Well, especially late in 2022 when you saw what he was able to do against Tennessee and then Clemson.
Yeah.
He played at a level that a lot of people thought when he signed with Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma, that was the level that you would see consistently.
Third, as far as yards per game, third leading passer in the SEC this year, only behind Jaden Daniels and Carson Beck. I didn't think that's the kind of play you'd get out of him at South Carolina.
Some of the turnovers, though.
19 touchdowns, 8 picks.
Well, and you wonder about, like, he had talent around him at Oklahoma. South Carolina, not as much. You wonder if this is one of those guys that if he's going to have success in the NFL, he's got to have a better NFL career than college career. Pat Mahomes has obviously done that.
Yeah,
Jared Goff has done that.
20 picks in 2 years at South Carolina. He definitely has to cut back on that.
Michael Penix Jr., obviously LT raves about him, but he's had, 2 ACL injuries in his time in college. Daniel Jeremiah, and talking about Penix Jr., off the board, upside. It'll be, according to Daniel, what the doctors say about Michael Penix Jr. and whether or not, quote, he can recover from a third ACL tear.
So I had a conversation with a Falcons fan last night, not Forster, by the way, and he was talking about Raheem Morris, and he likes the hire. And I said, well, you got to get a quarterback. And he said, I don't know if we can draft one at, 8 or 9? Is it 8 or 9? Yeah. And
8.
Yeah, I still think that it's going to come down to, and Michael Penix got brought up, and he said, well, he didn't look good against Michigan. I don't think he was healthy against Michigan.
That's right.
Like, I thought his ribs were banged up. I thought he had a shoulder injury. He wasn't 100%. But the Michael Penix we saw against Oregon and the Michael Penix we saw against Texas, that looks like a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Devontae Walker, North Carolina, is getting rave reviews early on. Talisa Fuaga, offensive lineman, Oregon State, and Quinyon Mitchell of Toledo, defensive back. Some guys that Jim Nagy says keep an eye on that could springboard from Mobile up NFL draft boards. Interesting week always down there in Mobile with everything going on at the Senior Bowl. And again, if you're familiar with that, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practices in front of everybody in the NFL is where you make your draft stock, right down there. Fun week in Mobile. We'll talk to Klay coming up. Still to come, I've got a list of potential first-time college football playoff teams. And you guys tell me whether it's realistic they can make their first playoff appearance in the expanded playoffs. We'll get to that a little bit later on. This is the next round being brought to you by a couple of great folks, including our friends at New York Butcher Shop. Tell us about New York Butcher.
Yeah, great place to go. How about lunch? The huge deli sandwiches. We probably don't talk about those enough. Fantastic. You can go to that sandwich station. You can do it exactly the way you want to, or you can just order some of their great specials right there. Stop in, see Jim and the fine folks at the New York Butcher Shop. Pick up the finest and certified Angus prime beef steaks, burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, all natural chicken cut to order just for you. They've got a great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop, 2 locations, Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well done service.
And our friends at Legacy, don't forget a chance to transfer that heavy balance you have on a credit card over to a Legacy credit card and get 2.99% annual percentage rate for balance transfer fees for the first 6 months. Get details right there and all the terms and conditions right at legacycreditunion.com. APR is the annual percentage rate, so you start off with a 2.99% annual percentage rate on balance transfer. The credit card rates on new purchases, 8.90% APR. No balance transfer fees, no annual fees. It's a wonderful deal right now. Get the details at legacycreditunion.com, legacycreditunion.com, or stop by any of the 9 greater Birmingham area branches. legacycreditunion.com, federally insured by the NCAA.
The NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah and Ryan Brown. DJ Football Weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459 exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Mark Sears is your SEC Player of the Week in basketball. UConn, Purdue, North Carolina, Houston, Tennessee, top 5. Kentucky's 10. Auburn is 16. We just talked to Stephen Pearl. You can get that podcasted wherever you get our video and audio podcasts. Alabama's back in the rankings at 24. And DJ Durkin is Auburn's new defensive coordinator. We'll talk to Klay Travis right after LT tells us about Harbin's.
Harbin's Outdoors, award-winning landscape company specializing in installing the custom fiberglass pools, landscaping, hardscaping. Jeremy and his team, one-stop shop for your pool construction needs. They do it all, from the install to the lighting, final hardscapes around the pool, everything in between. You see my backyard right there. Harbin's came out. We put a plan together. They knocked that out. Bullet and Chili, absolutely loving it. You can find them on Instagram at Harbin's_outdoors. See it for yourself, or call or text Jeremy directly, 205-300-0718. That's 205-300-0718.
Klay Travis is the founder of Outkick. You see him on Fox as well. He is with us on the Johnston RVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Klay? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic. Thanks a lot. This Super Bowl excites you? Is this? I think most people, and they didn't have a dog in the fight. You're a Titans fan. I'm a Dolphins fan. We had no dogs in the fight. Wanted to see Detroit, and that is my disappointment, I guess, in all of this. With all due respect to the Niners, is that we don't get to see Detroit. That would have been pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I was rooting for the Lions to go, and I would have preferred the Ravens have won, so we don't get 2 weeks of Taylor Swift extravaganza. Plus, I mean, I just would rather new teams go. As a general rule, I felt the same way when the Patriots were going every year, too. I just think it's a little bit more fun to see new teams on the stage. And what is this, 4 out of the last 5 years for the Chiefs, and probably a bunch more Super Bowl appearances still to come because of how talented and electric Patrick Mahomes is. I think it's fair to say he's this generation's version of Tom Brady, and he may end up better before all is said and done. So yeah, I would have preferred the Ravens and the Lions. I think it would have been a more interesting Super Bowl. But I will say I am kind of fascinated, because if you were drafting skill position players, leave the quarterbacks away off to the side for a minute, and you were just breaking down the individual talent of the skill position players on the 49ers and the Chiefs, I think clearly you go Christian McCaffrey 1. I think probably 2 you go Debo.
Yep.
I think 3 you may go Brandon Ayuk. And then 4 maybe you go Travis Kelce, although I think you would go George Kittle, notwithstanding how well Travis Kelce played in the AFC Championship game. So maybe you go Travis Kelce at 4, then you come back with Kittle at 5. You could flip those guys. So, I mean, imagine what Patrick Mahomes with this skilled cadre of playmakers would look like with the 49ers. So I'm actually kind of curious to see how Kyle Shanahan, who's been in several Super Bowls now, not had success yet, will be able to do with 2 weeks to get ready and the far more talented offensive playmaker roster against what is, let's be honest, a very good, downright dominant at times Kansas City defense.
Yeah, look, I mean, Kansas City, this is by far the best defense he's got, Patrick Mahomes has got. But this offense, I mean, they're finally playing good football, Klay. You go back to Christmas Day against the Raiders where they score 14 points in that loss. And, it looked like they were lost. I think that's when you sent a tweet out. I'll tell you this. My small commute, I listen to Full Ride sometimes with Rick Neuheisel and Chris Childers. And apparently the Chris Childers guys, he absolutely hates you. I don't know if you guys have history. I think he lives in Nashville. But he brought up a freezing cold take, I think it was yesterday, that you had sent out about Travis Kelce needs to retire. Yoko Ono is, Taylor Swift is the Yoko Ono of the Chiefs. I agreed back then. It looked like all of that, and it's amazing how they flipped this around. So do you agree with that? And do you have a some kind of off-mic beef with Chris Childers in Nashville?
I don't think I know him.
Okay.
There's so much. It's basically free advertising for me every day on every channel in America. It feels like at times. So I can't even keep up with all the people who have opinions about my opinion this day, which is fine. But no, I don't have any relationship that I'm aware of with that guy. But yeah, that tweet, the old takes exposed guy. He wrote for Outkick for a while. Fred Siegel. I do know him, and we would have him on the Outkick radio show back in the day. I mean, I think he does fun stuff. But I would bet that if he told you what gets the most interaction, I would bet I'm one of the 5 people that he enjoys featuring the most in terms of the reaction that my opinions get from Old Takes Exposed. I would bet, Stephen A., Skip, Cowherd, me. That's probably the top 4. Honestly, I don't even know who else would be in that category. So yeah, I knew that went viral. And I don't know if you saw, like, even Martina Navratilova took a shot at me, which I thought was really, really amazing.
Dan, what'd you say to get under her skin?
Was it about that same one?
She shared that tweet, and had a comment on it. I don't remember what it was. You can go to my Twitter feed, I'm amazed by the people who are who I grew if I was a little kid, watching you as an athlete, and you now have opinions on something that I've said. I can't not think about, being a little kid in, Goodlettsville, Tennessee, watching Martina Navratilova in the Wimbledon or French Open when I was home all day by myself during the summer, like a lot of kids were, watching sports. The idea that she would one day be reacting to anything that I said. I mean, I still kind of think that's funny about Keith Olbermann, even though he's clearly insane now. If you had told me when I was eating my breakfast cereal, at 13 or 12 years old, getting ready for school, that one day Keith Olbermann was going to be obsessively reacting to my opinions on anything, I would have been like, what a crazy world we're headed for. That to me is probably the most entertaining thing, is just who ends up reacting to some of the things that are out there circulating.
And she's probably got a crush on Taylor Swift. Obviously, she doesn't have one on Travis Kelce.
Or me. I think that's likely in both directions.
I would ask you this, though. I mean, the Taylor Swift thing aside, television ratings for the NFL are in a very healthy place, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I mean, people like football. This is not earth-shattering news. I think the NFL got into a period where they were focused on things other than football. I think it was bad for the brand of football. In like 2016, 17, 18-ish, 19 maybe even. Now one thing people don't talk about, Dunaway, you probably have thought about this some because you used to work, I believe, at the CBS affiliate. All sports, by and large, ratings are up because now Nielsen includes out-of-home viewing, and no one ever talks about this. So every sporting event basically is getting a 10 to 15% ratings boost just in the last 3 or 4 years, because now they're suddenly counting you if you watch in a sports bar or if you watch in a gym or a hotel or somewhere without Nielsen boxes. They're now able to track those. And so that is certainly given a rising tide lifts all boats scenario. But look, I mean, gambling, I think there's several things at play. To me, there's been 3 transformative moments in sports in my life. One was cable satellite kind of becoming standard. So I'm old enough, and I know all 3 of you guys would be too. I bet a lot of your listeners or viewers are not. I remember listening to games on the radio. I remember going to get a newspaper to see who won a game the night before. So that's like, my kids would find that utterly insane that you would not be able to watch every game live at the moment you want to. Cable satellite changed that. Fantasy, particularly for football, gave everybody rooting interest. And then, look, I think the legalization of sports gambling has been huge in terms of turning more people on to watching and paying attention to sports, not only for who's going to win, but, LT and I have been doing this for a long time now. The number of games that I watch to the bitter end that are all well decided to see whether or not they hit the over-under or whether or not the spread's going to come into play. I haven't seen anybody do a deep dive on it, but I believe 33 states now have some form of legalized sports gambling. I think all of those things working together have made a tremendous difference.
I don't think there's any doubt. Klay Travis is with us, Outkick founder, also Fox Sports. He's with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You mentioned something in your answer to Lance's question. I brought it up to Coach Herm Edwards yesterday, but it's true for the quarterback as well. I said to Coach Herm, if not for Bill Belichick, Andy Reid would easily be the greatest coach of our generation. And if not for Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes may be. But Lance pointed out, it may not be over for Reid. He might be able to, or no, you pointed out with Mahomes, he might be able to catch Brady. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, 6 years as starter, 6 championship games. He's 28 years old going to his 4th Super Bowl.
I don't know that Reed, at his age, Clay, could catch Belichick, but, I mean, might Mahomes one day be what we say Tom Brady is?
Yeah, well, remember, especially, too, and here's the question. Like, the Chiefs seem to have been able to replace Tyreek Hill, even though their wide receiving core is certainly struggling right now, and still be able to. They won a Super Bowl last year. They may win the Super Bowl this year. Travis Kelce is clearly, whatever you think about his performance in the AFC Championship game. I mean, if you look at the last 12 games or so that Travis Kelce has played, I think it's hard to believe he isn't significantly past his prime in terms of his ability to consistently dominate. Doesn't mean on an individual game basis he can't show up and make a real huge difference. He did, obviously, in the AFC Championship game, but he's on the backside of his career. If you look at Tom Brady, there was like a 9-year period where he didn't win any Super Bowls. If you guys remember, if you go back and look, maybe one of you can pull it up. A lot of people forget because we think about Brady as being consistently excellent. But there was, I don't know, from maybe the 4th Super Bowl to the 5th Super Bowl, like 9 years in between. Remember, a couple of those he lost to Eli Manning in the Super Bowl, big underdog Eli Manning, the 18-0 year they lost. But it took, there was almost 2 different Hall of Fame careers for Brady. First part of his career where he won several. That's what we're seeing with Patrick Mahomes now. Then Brady had a fallow period, and then he came back at like whatever it was, 37, 38, and added several more Super Bowls at the end of his career when they kind of remade the team around him. So I think the question for Mahomes is, given the fact that he's making $50 million a year or whatever he is, how well can the Kansas City Chiefs continue to build excellent teams around him? And the other thing, guys, I mean, look at the quality of AFC quarterbacks. Brown, you're a Dolphins fan. And unfortunately, I'm a Titans fan. At least you've got Tua, who probably is the 6th or 7th best quarterback in the AFC right now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking about Mahomes won, in my opinion. Mahomes won. Second spot, probably I would go with Josh Allen. I understand that would be controversial. Burrow, Lamar, right? It's probably the top 4 for most people. And I think you could argue about where 2, 3, and 4 are slotted, but Mahomes is clearly one. And then, like, you look at somebody like C.J. Stroud. I mean, if you factor in youth and what he's going to cost the next 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, you could argue he's there. Trevor Lawrence, Tua.
Herbert, Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
Hey, Clay, it's
Deshaun
crazy
Watson,
in the AFC.
If he ever comes back, Deshaun Watson ever comes back from the massage scandal and plays decent. I mean, 3 years ago, you would have said that he was the top 5 quarterback in the AFC. And all those guys I think we just named are under 30. So it's the end. And then the NFC is like nobody.
Well, I think it's Matt Stafford. I mean, I really do. I know that sounds crazy being a Rams fan, but when you look at the NFC quarterbacks, I mean, I think Stafford's your best quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and Stafford's 35 or whatever he is.
Yeah,
right. I mean, who's the best quarterback under 30 in the NFC? I mean,
Jordan Love,
Brock Purdy, or Jordan Love,
right?
Yeah.
Again, I'll just say, it's unbelievable to me how all of the good young quarterback talent has ended up stacked on the AFC side of the ball. And what's frustrating about that is, unlike other positions where you can just sit around and say, okay, well, they're going to be good for 4 or 5 years, which is typically the window of most excellence in the NFL. I mean, what did you guys just say? Mahomes is 27?
28. Yep.
All right, so he's got a solid decade of excellence, and that might even be low, right? I mean, he might be able to do a Brady and play 42, 43 years old, just depending on how well he manages to stay healthy. So far he's relatively managed to stay pretty healthy. I know everybody takes a beating, but I would certainly, if I were out there right now, feel good about him for another 10 years.
Some of your comments over the course of a year will make me mad because I disagree with them. The ones that make me extremely mad is when you're right about something that I disagreed with. And years ago on our radio show, you said when we were talking about cable, the price of cable, cutting the cord and everything, that we should be careful what we ask for.
Yeah.
That when we start streaming, that they're going to be hidden cost. I'm an Amazon Prime. I got them all. I've got them all.
Yep.
But Amazon Prime, which I'm already paying more being Amazon Prime, now I've got to pay an extra $2.99 to not get commercials, which is why I thought I was Amazon Prime because I wasn't getting commercials.
Exactly.
So now I've got to be Amazon Prime Plus or something. There's $2.99 charges coming out of the woodworks at me now, and you told me this was going to happen back in our old radio days.
I said, and look, I'm no fan of a lot of ESPN programming, but I said purely from a sports fan perspective, we are going to, and by the way, that we're just getting started, Dunaway, because I mean they're going to put the Super Bowl on pay-per-view at some point. Don't you think they're putting a random playoff game on Peacock to just do it for once? No, look, I mean they're setting the table. We're all going to get gouged. Every sports fan out there, and you're going to look back, and I'm already hearing from a lot of people talking about it. I mean, just something as simple as being able to flip around from one game to another with one remote control on a Saturday, or college football or NFL games or whatever. It is. We're going to all end up paying way more for less quality when it comes to sports viewing, and it's going to cost. I mean, an arm and a leg, right? I mean, if you're a wrestling fan now, I mean, just think about it. You got Amazon Prime Thursdays. You got YouTube now, which is owned by Google, which has Sunday Ticket. You've got Netflix now putting WWE Raw on Netflix. You've got Peacock putting playoff games on, and there will be more of those to come. And all of it's just continuing to get layered on. Apple's got MLS if you happen to be a big soccer fan. And you're having to pay for all that a la carte. And the end result is going to be ESPN Plus now carries some SEC games and certainly other events that you may be able to watch or want to watch. All of us are going to have to pay a lot more. And I think we're going to get a lower quality of overall programming.
Klay, if you're around our age, at some point you probably gawked over Alyssa Milano growing up.
Yeah.
What is going on with you and Alyssa Milano right now?
So Alyssa, I don't know exactly how much Alyssa Milano is worth, but she's super rich. And I couldn't believe when I was just scrolling through Twitter, last year, and I think I talked about this. I mean, I went up to Cooperstown with my 12-year-old for the baseball tournament. A lot of people do those Little League tournaments where it's pretty awesome. The end of the year for most people, they do this incredible Cooperstown, New York Little League tournament. They got like 20 different Little League fields. They're exquisite. It's just an awesome time. So a lot of people end their travel ball or Little League seasons when the kids are 12. It's also kind of a path from boyhood to becoming an adolescent, although some of those kids have mustaches at 12 and are hitting 15 home runs in those tournaments. But it's not cheap. But Alyssa Milano was asking for people to pay for her son and his team on a GoFundMe to go to Cooperstown, New York. And if you're wealthy, I think you should not ask people who are poorer than you overwhelmingly to pay for your family's extracurricular activity. Like, I can't imagine, I just went to Australia. I can't imagine getting on social media and being like, hey, my family's going to Australia. Will you guys pay for it? So I was mocking Alyssa Milano.
That is a good point, though.
I haven't thought of it in those terms. Yeah,
her net worth is $10 million. Her husband's is $5 million. So the combined household net worth is $15 million.
Yeah.
So they have $15 million. She drives a $200,000 car, right? A Porsche. Like, I'm not claiming that I'm the greatest human being on the planet. There's plenty of evidence that I'm not, right? But I have donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to charity in the last couple of years, okay? Nobody knows what any of it has gone to, right? I'm not running around like, hey, look at me, look at what I paid for. If my kids' team had people who couldn't afford to go, or had players that were having issues or whatever else, the benefit of having money is you can do nice things for people without having to make a big show of it. So, like, she has a $15 million net worth. She could have easily paid $10,000 for the whole team and covered every bit of their details. She could have also said, hey, kids, like, I'll pay for this, but, I want you to have a work ethic. I want you to come by the house, and I need you guys to do X, Y, and Z in my yard. There are lots of ways that kids could raise money.
Hell, they could do what I did when I was a kid. We had to get out and sell Krispy Kreme donuts door to door and at the grocery store.
Boston Butts. Go sell Boston Butts.
I mean, the tone deaf nature of it if you ever see me, like, it's one thing if I'm trying to raise millions of dollars someday and I'm like, hey, I've donated a lot of money. If you have the opportunity also to donate, we're trying to raise millions of dollars for something external, right? Like that I have no connection to at all. Hey, I'm trying to raise a bunch of money for this hospital, or I'm trying to do this for this children's organization or whatever. I get it with celebrities then, like, can you match my $100,000? Like, okay, but hey, can you pay for my family to do an extracurricular activity? Like, LT, what would your reaction have been if you'd gotten onto Twitter and I'd been like, hey, my family's going to Australia. Can you guys help pay for it?
I would have thought that you were hacked.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can criticize me for a lot, but I mean, hey, person who has way less than me, I need you to pay for me to have even more extravagant lifestyle. I just think it's so tone deaf. So that's how I
Well, and the crazy thing is you paid like the 800 and change to put it over the top. I mean, it was like
I paid off $800 or $794, whatever the total was, to send Alyssa Milano's son to the All-Star game. But I said that I would appreciate that they wear MAGA hats for the tournament.
Hey, the MAGA hat got Larry David whatever seat he wanted.
That's true, it did.
That was very funny. Yeah.
All right, he is Klay Travis at Klay Travis on Twitter, Fox Sports, and the founder of Outkick. Thank you very much, Klay. Have a great week.
All right, I'll see y'all.
All right, Klay with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And the show being brought to you by Michelson Laser Vision LT.
Hey, pre-inflation pricing right now. Call Amy, 205-969-8100. Tell her the next round sent you. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You've got zero to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. I used to have the 2200 vision. I wore the contacts each and every year, was wasting money on that. Finally went in, got the procedure done. I've still got 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100. Ask Amy about the pre-inflation pricing. For more information, MichelsonLaserVision.com.
SEC hoops tonight. South Carolina, really improving basketball team on the road in Knoxville, though. Number 5, Tennessee, 5:30 SEC Network. And then the Egg Bowl on the hardwood. Mississippi State Ole Miss tonight, 7:30 SEC Network. A chance for Auburn fans to see who they play and in the venue they play this upcoming weekend. Couple of top 25 matchups include Texas Tech and TCU tonight, 6 o'clock, actually on ESPN2. They get a top 25 Big 12 matchup actually gets on main television where you don't have to stream it. When we come back, the Big 12's first expanded college football schedule is out. The good and a lot of bad when we come back right here on TNR.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
For more than 40 years, Red Wing Shoes has been helping the hardworking people of Alabama. This is why Red Wing Shoes has created the 3-step comfort solution. Step 1, a certified fit specialist will use a 3D scan to electronically measure your feet and arches. Step 2, the fit specialist helps you get the appropriate footwear for your occupation. Step 3, customize your boot or shoe with a Red Wing orthotic. Whether you have a high arch or flat feet, Red Wing has comfort solutions for you. So experience comfort at its best. Visit one of the Red Wing shoe stores located in Pelham or Trustville. Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Support the show and grab some great t-shirts and hoodies right now in the Next Round store. Buy the Alabama State map shirts in your team's favorite colors, the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest, or Next Round flag shirts are also online now. Just go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store. The traditional Next Round logo shirts are there too. Buy them for yourself, or they make a great gift for someone else. And let us know what you'd like to see in the store coming up. Nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Bandwagon wants to remind you that baseball and softball season is right around the corner, and their shelves are stocked with everything your kid needs. From grip tape to gloves to custom uniforms, Bandwagon has all the gear, big and small, for those ballpark days. Until February 3rd, you spend $100 on baseball or softball equipment, and Bandwagon will give you $20 off. Just tell them the Next Round sent you. Visit locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trustful, or go online to bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Back with you on the next round. You got Caitlin Clark coming up in your four downs?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Why?
Well,
No. I know why.
LeBron had a Caitlin Clark moment last night.
Okay. Well, I want to bring up before that, it has nothing to do with Pete Maravich?
Nothing to do with Pete Maravich.
Really amazing. Before I tell you about Storm Restoration Roofing, then we'll get to that Big 12 football schedule. Caitlin Clark is 279 points away from becoming the all-time Division I men or women's college basketball points leader. And she will eventually pass Pete Maravich, who still holds that record.
Without a three-point stripe, by the way.
This is my point, is Brown, there was no three-point stripe. I don't know if he only played 3 years because it was a time freshmen were not eligible, but there was no three-point line. And still the fact that record was set, was that the 60s? Early 70s, 60s?
Yeah.
69
60s.
was the big game in Coleman Coliseum for him. So it was, late 60s, early 70s.
So Pete Maravich's scoring record in all of Division I men's and women's basketball
century
is still there at 3,667 points. Before there was a three-point line, men or women have not passed that number yet.
Yeah, it would have been unbeatable, unbreakable if you had an arc back then.
And only 3 years, to your point.
So he did it in 3 years.
In 3 years. He averaged his sophomore year, which would have been his first year of eligibility. It was just another stupid NCAA rule that freshmen couldn't play.
He had 828 points if the freshman year when he played, it didn't count towards varsity. You'd have that many more points.
Right.
He played all 4 years.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Lance, is he averaged 43.8 his sophomore year, 44.2 his junior year, and 44.5 his senior year. He was extremely consistent.
Yeah.
So you could just assume his freshman year, bare minimum, he averages 30 points a game.
19 games, averaged 43.6.
Without a three-point stripe. And he shot a lot of outside shots, didn't he?
Oh, yes. But
didn't you say you were at that game?
I was at one of them, yeah. I think it was the 69 game. But again, I don't remember it. I just remember cinder blocks used to hold the goal in place.
So random.
In Tuscaloosa down there. But Caitlin Clark is averaging 32 points a game, nowhere close to what Pete was averaging. And I wonder how many games they played back then.
Well, I've got that right here.
I'm not the old man shouting at the clouds, but
he
many
played
games?
83 total games.
83 total
and
games.
She's played how many?
Well, I'm just saying you play about 30 a year now in college.
Yeah, she's going to play 25% more than he has.
And she still has a whole year of eligibility left if she doesn't go to the WNBA this year.
I think she'll make more in NIL than she make WNBA.
But she could probably take that to the WNBA too.
Yeah, in fact, her net worth right now,
Alyssa Milano
her net worth is $3.2 million, and she's
pretty strong for a 20-year-old.
And she's in college. The people who are signed up with Caitlin Clark: Nike, Gatorade, Topps, State Farm, Bose, Buick, Goldman Sachs, and H&R Block. Those are people that signed up on her NIL.
Yeah, but I'm sure she could take those endorsements to the WNBA as well.
Oh, they're probably all lifetime deals.
I mean, so I don't know. I mean, there's probably no benefit to her going pro, but I also don't think that that's holding her back. I don't know what she'll do.
No, I would think that, and I'm just guessing, who knows, but if Iowa's got a good enough team next year, if she doesn't win if she wins a national championship, she's probably out. But if she's not, if that's, one of her goals, I mean, why would you not stay put and still make millions of dollars?
Yeah. By the way, she's just a few away from passing Casey Plum, who has the women's all-time scoring
And I would
record.
say this real quick. I think she probably gets more publicity playing at Iowa than the WNBA.
I would agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
this year she will play, I don't know how many times WNBA, but this year her Iowa team will play on both CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox. She'll become the first women's player ever to play on all 4 networks.
Like, I cannot tell you right now who is considered the best player in the WNBA. I have no earthly idea. Couldn't even guess, to be honest with you.
Is Candace still playing?
I have no idea. That's what I'm saying. I have no idea.
Who's the Lunsford? Who's the Sabrina kid from Oregon?
I know you're talking.
So there you go.
about.
See, I don't know. Yeah. You've proven my point.
Whatever.
I can 100% tell you who the best player in women's basketball is. 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt. In fact, can name. I don't know that she's the second best, but I know that Angel Reese girl plays for LSU. Yeah. Did you see that?
I think Caitlin Clark might be the best player on the planet. Like, if you put her in the WNBA right now,
I would guess.
I think with her skill set, she probably is.
I don't know the game. I don't know the WNBA game because the NBA game and the college game differ so much. In fact, I don't know if you saw this, but was it LSU South Carolina where the TV ratings head-to-head beat an NBA game?
Yeah, well, her
that's pretty crazy to consider, though.
Her game the other day against Ohio State where they lost and she flopped in the contact with the student afterwards. 1.9 million viewers.
That's insane.
Yeah, for a women's game. Now that was leading into an NFL game, which is why I was watching it.
Well, yeah.
I was waiting for the NFL
but how
game
many
to start.
views on the flop? 500 million.
Yeah, she's a draw, though, man. I mean, people tune in to watch her play. Now, I mentioned LSU South Carolina. She's obviously not in that game, but she's a television draw.
If it was a random, we'll call it Tuesday night, and she was in town, I might go see her play.
Yeah, I mean, if Iowa was playing somebody at the BJCC or at the Hannah Center or whatever, I'd consider going. If
it was in your backyard, you'd lift the blinds, right?
I'd watch her play.
Turn it up. Turn it up.
I hate that she flopped that way and they made a big deal in the post game.
Do you want to go on and do 4 downs?
Yeah, we can. Let me tell you about Storm Restoration first. Locally owned for over 20 years, Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531. Greg from Pell City on Facebook. You can look him up there as well. What can Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration do for you? Well, your roof's important, right? You own a house. The roof's what protects the house. One shingle getting loose, you can get water entry into the house. It's going to cause damage after damage. I just tell you, it used to be a very flat, nice yard where the Grand Canyon is. A little bit of water, and now it's a big hole in the earth. You don't want water leaking into your house. It causes all sorts of problems. Greg gives you a free, no-cost roof inspection. He also replaces storm damage, and if it's time for a new roof, he'll replace your roof too. 205-542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. It is Storm Restoration Roofing. Before we get to the 4 downs, though, the Big 12 schedule is out. I won't go into too many details, but I will tell you it fails in a couple of places. One, you'd be all excited about the opening weekend of the new Big 12, right? Expanded.
That's right.
And the Big 10's got where they put some conference games in week 1. The Big 12 did not learn that lesson. Opening weekend, Arizona, New Mexico, Arizona State, Wyoming, Tarleton State, Southern Illinois, New Hampshire, Towson, North Dakota State for Colorado. Tricky first game.
Serious?
UNLV, North Dakota, Lindenwood, UT Martin, South Dakota State, Abilene, Southern Utah. The only 2 games of note. Friday night, TCU at Stanford, and West Virginia plays host to Penn State opening weekend.
The fact you included TCU Stanford in a game of note tells me everything I need to know.
And they also fell at the other end of the schedule as well. Rivalry weekend, because this is a new league, and other than Arizona State, you don't really have any rivals in this. They play Kansas State in the middle of the year. Iowa State's biggest rival is Iowa. They play that in the middle of the year. They're going to play the Holy War, BYU, Utah in the middle of the year.
At least the Cy-Hawk Cup has always been early in the year, so that's at least where it's always been.
So not a lot of natural rivals. Yeah. Those are my 2 big takeaways. Week 2 is their best out-of-conference weekend, and you get some really cool games like Houston at Oklahoma. You get Colorado at Nebraska in that return game, Oklahoma State and Arkansas, BYU, SMU, and that's the Iowa State-Iowa game. Yeah. That's some of the notes. You see the notable Big 12 matchups there. And that BYU-Utah, that'll be always a fun game. And
Holy War.
Holy War. And hopefully that gets to a place where it makes it on your TV this college football season.
Kansas, by the way, is going to play their conference home games at Arrowhead Stadium this year. Their stadium is not going to be ready. I don't know if you've noticed, but they're redoing their stadium. and it's not going to be ready for the season. So they're playing their non-conference home games at the Kansas City Soccer Stadium, whichever their professional soccer team is.
Yep.
And their conference games at Arrowhead Stadium, which to me is kind of a bold move that you think you need Arrowhead Stadium for your conference games.
That's
but
right.
okay.
I'd ask the question what the soccer stadium holds.
I'm going to guess less than Arrowhead, but I don't think you need as much as Arrowhead holds either.
Well, let's do 4 Downs. It is brought to you by our friends at Slice Every Day. Great locations for lunch and dinner, LT.
Yeah, 4 locations for you. Soon to be that 5th location coming in Homewood this spring. Stop and see the Bajaya Brothers local pizza, local ingredients from the soul pie, the Bajaya Special, Hot Mama, Old School. You're going to absolutely love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Back at a championship game first. And I'm talking not comp. Well, let's take the Big Ten out of it. It's got to be a
playoff
national championship.
A national
yeah.
championship or Super Bowl.
So Michigan or Detroit? And Detroit, again, I'm talking NFC championship.
So Michigan in a college football national championship game or Detroit in an NFC championship game? I think I'd go Detroit.
I think I would go the Lions as well.
I just don't think the Lions are going to fall apart here. I think they've got a pretty good roster, and they believe in Dan Campbell. Obviously, the guy, knows he's a pretty good coach, it appears. Now, Ben Johnson is going to be a huge loss for them, their offensive coordinator, if he gets one of these remaining head coaching jobs.
Seattle hire him.
Yeah, it's going to be a big loss. This guy he's a hot name in coaching circles. So, you're going to have to get the offensive coordinator hire right. But Jared Goff, the way he's playing with those weapons.
Well, and here's another thing. Clay brought this up. I mean, the AFC is so loaded at the quarterback position. I mean, really, you could make an argument that Goff is one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFC right now.
Yeah, and they're going to sign him to a bigger contract, but they're able to do that because some of their stars are in their first and second year, going into their third and second years, Aiden Hutchins being one of them. I like this Lions team. I think they make it back to an NFC championship game before Michigan gets back to a national championship.
Yeah, I would agree.
Second down.
Bigger flop over the last couple of weeks. Caitlin Clark, when the fan ran into her, or what we saw last night with LeBron James getting grazed by Dylan Brooks.
It was a flagrant foul. They called it a flagrant.
It was a graze. He rolled around, writhing in pain. That's embarrassing.
It was Caitlin Clark was the biggest flop. Bumped into an Ohio State student who got up faster than she did, and she is not an athlete, the girl that got up and kept running. And Caitlin Clark stayed down a little bit longer. I think when you get hit in the face, no matter how hard it is, initially it shocks you so much that
he's played the NBA for 20 years. He's been hit in the face a lot.
No, not as much as you think.
He got grazed last night. Dude is a superhuman. He's 245, 250 pounds of nothing but muscle.
We've all got the same facial muscles, though, LT. Of all the muscles in my body, my facial muscles are probably more like LeBron's facial muscles than any other muscle in my body.
Well, that's totally different. I mean, everybody's got a different chin.
Identical then if your facial muscles are the exact same.
You know what I'm saying? That my face muscles are closer to being in shape with LeBron's face muscles than any other muscle in my body.
But people have different chins. People can take a little more pain than some others. But LeBron hyped this thing up. And again, go back and watch it. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it until I'm watching it on my phone right here.
They just did a overshot on whatever this is right here, this ESPN show, and it was a graze.
Now I would have gone down to get the foul, but anyway, this guy stays down rolling on the ground. I mean, you got the foul, just get up.
Now the good news is I'm going over to watch the Lakers tonight, so I think he will play. I don't think he would sit this one out, knowing that people might call him a poon. So I think that does help him play.
It may help him play,
I think people call him that anyway because they don't like him. And I think you look at LeBron through a different pair of glasses.
Completely. If that would have been anybody, Dunaway.
I will say.
I don't know how you don't know that's a poon move.
I will say Caitlin Clark had to be helped off the floor. I think LeBron eventually got up shot free throws, right? Yeah.
But LeBron was still down, 20, 30 seconds.
He did writhe in pain. Lance is right. Caitlin Clark's was worse.
Third down.
Okay, I got a couple of celebrity birthdays for you guys. We will start first with Phil Collins, 73 years old. Better career, Phil Collins or Phil Mickelson?
I would go Phil Mickelson. I think Mickelson's a top 10 golfer of all time. I do not think Phil Collins is a top 10 musician of all time.
Phil Collins from Genesis to solo career. I mean, I don't know how many number ones he had. He had quite a few, though, back in the 80s. I mean, he was a big deal, and he was one of the so talented to be able to be a lead singer with those vocals and play the drums at the level he played them at.
That is hard to do. I'm going to go Phil Mickelson as well. But is there a chance that somewhere along the way, Phil, too, has seen somebody murdered in the air tonight?
Wow, that away.
You know that was debunked, right?
I do.
Yeah. I would go Phil Collins here.
So I'm going to look up Phil Collins.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Phil has seen that.
Yes. Number one hits for Phil Collins, I do not know. Mickelson's got 6 majors. So a number one hit is a major, would you say that?
Yeah, I think Against All Odds was definitely a number one.
Yeah.
Didn't he have some dancing song like this?
I Can't Dance?
I Can't Dance.
Terrible song.
Studio. He had some
bad
terrible songs.
Yes, there's no doubt.
Easy Lover with, what was the guy? Something Bailey?
Easy Lover. No, different one.
They get out of a helicopter together. I forgot. It might have been Philip Bailey and Phil Collins.
Not a huge Phil Collins fan.
But I would say Phil Collins got 8 number ones.
I can't ever find these stupid number ones.
How many majors does Phil have?
6. He never won the U.S. Open. He won 3 of the 4. It's pretty elite company he's in. He's a top 10 player of all time. I don't think there's any doubt.
Yeah, I don't think Phil Collins is a top 10, but
No.
I would say if you went by number ones, though.
Yeah, maybe so.
4th down.
Christian Bale, 50 years old. Better career, Christian Bale or Christian McCaffrey?
Real quickly, Phil Collins, 7 number ones. Against All Odds in 84, Studio, which you cannot say properly. You got to say it like that. Studio. One More Night, Separate Lives in 1985. Groovy Kinda Love, 2 Hearts in 1988, and finally Another Day in Paradise in 1989.
Another Day in Paradise at number 1?
Yeah,
well, I did.
It was a bad period of music.
It really was. But if you've seen Phil Collins, he had to retire. His health is not good right now.
I
It's
hate
really
to hear
sad.
that.
Yeah, have you not seen him?
No, I have not.
Yeah, not good. Christian Bale, Christian McCaffrey.
Better career?
Yeah,
I'd go Christian Bale right now. Bale's, that guy is a phenomenal actor. McCaffrey maybe
Christian
by
Bale
the
easy right now.
Yeah, right now. McCaffrey maybe by the end of his career, but Bale right now is number 1.
The problem, like McCaffrey, I think you make an argument outside of non-quarterback, best offensive player in football. But the problem is his career is going to be over in the next couple of years, and Bale's going to make movies for 25 more years.
Oh, Christian Bale, the actor. Okay.
Batman, probably. I mean, he's played some excellent roles.
I'm glad you finally said that because I thought we were talking about one of the most hated Duke players, Christian Laettner.
Yes. A lot
I
of
missed the Bale part. I was about to say McCaffrey's never been hated as much as Christian Laettner. Christian Bale. I'm going to go Christian Bale over McCaffrey.
Yeah, I would go Bale too.
Bale doesn't miss movies for being hurt. McCaffrey, luckily, has been healthy the last couple of years. Led my team to a championship in fantasy football, and I think he's a big reason the 49ers are where they are.
It's amazing. The 1 year you draft him is like the 1 year he doesn't get hurt and has a good full year.
And that's not true. I had him last year. This should have been a keeper year, by the way. And I won the championship last year.
So you're telling me Christian McCaffrey is a 2-time fantasy football league champion?
Well, there's a chance if the NFL doesn't rig the Super Bowl that he's actually going to win one too.
Yeah, but in our league, whoever had Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 for 2.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, stop and see the Bajaya brothers. Created the concept by the late Jeff Bajaya. Incredible guy. His brothers Jason and Chris continue his legacy. They continue to celebrate it. Stop into one of those 4 locations or online, slicebirmingham.com.
I think American Hustle was his best role, though.
Yeah, I think everybody's saying American Psycho. I thought it was overrated.
Yeah, I liked him in American Hustle, man. He played a tremendous role in that.
I liked American Psycho.
Yeah.
I thought it was overrated.
The Machinist, underrated. The Machinist.
You hadn't seen The Machinist.
Look at it.
I think he lost 100 pounds for that role.
The Fighter's what he won his Oscar for.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if I've seen that.
I mean, but he was
Dick Cheney.
He was Dark Knight, Batman Begins, and Dark Knight Rises, right?
Yeah, the Nolan movies.
Probably was in a Thor movie once too.
He was,
according to my teleprompter.
Good job.
Thank you. I got
Conrad. I'm like Dunaway. I don't know half these non-athlete a-holes that LT brings up. How do you not know who these people are?
I don't know some of them for sure.
Phil Collins and Christian Bale. I mean, come on.
Dunaway thought it was Christian Laettner.
Read a magazine, Dunaway.
I'm too busy reading about this. When we come back, though, don't look, but something has passed The Office for the most viewed show this year.
I'm not looking.
And I've never seen one episode. That, and we'll update you on everything else going on in sports when we come back right here on TNR, being brought to you by our friends at Redmond Vodka LT. You're going to see the Redmond folks tonight a little bit.
Well, it is the official vodka of Phillips Arena, official vodka of the Atlanta Hawks. So I'll be having me some Redmond vodka tonight when I go over to watch Hawks Lakers. But wherever you are, ask for it by name. If they don't have it, tell them to get it. Available in 22 states, gluten-free. It is 8 times distilled. You're going to love it. Locally owned and operated product. It is Redmond Vodka.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, February 2nd through 4th. See customs, classics, and feature cars like the Batmobile and General Lee. Meet WWE's Mankind or Jerry Mathers from Leave It to Beaver. Get discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap. Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com. The latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
Back with you on The Next Round show, being brought to you by our friends at Odie's, getting ready for another trivia night coming up. Before you tell us about Odie's, and Lunsford may need to do a little research about this, the Beatles' last public performance, today, 1969.
It's hard to believe how, for as iconic as they are still, and as relevant as they are, how little time they actually were together.
I wonder what the last song they played publicly was. Like, you know,
as a group?
Yeah, like if they ran off the stage and they're like, one song, one more. People come back out. What was the last song they played? See if Lunsford can find that.
Yellow Submarine. Huh?
Get Back.
Are you serious? That was it?
They never got back.
Yeah.
The third live performance of Get Back, which was the last song of the Beatles' final live performance.
How about that?
Where was the final performance?
Hang on.
It wasn't that rooftop.
Jitterbugs.
Was it really?
Yeah.
It was that rooftop?
I took Leighton to see that in IMAX a couple of years ago. I thought it was overrated. It was kind of cool how they did it, though, and nobody in London knew that they were actually putting this show on.
Yeah, but I did love, what was the movie that It was about the Beatles disappeared from the world after the guy had the bike accident. Yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good flick. I like that movie.
Very good.
Yeah,
Danny
I like that
Boyle.
movie.
Yeah, if you like,
that's a good one.
Yeah, very unique.
Yeah.
The concept of that, I thought it was really good.
That's the way Odie's is. Very unique. Tell us about Odie's, and we'll jump back into a little football here.
2 locations. The newest location right there in Edgewood, the corner of Broadway and Oxmoor. Of course, the original in Crestline, where we will be tomorrow night for Odie's Team Trivia. Make sure you come out, say hello. Ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Incredible food from Rodney Davis. Go see Will Haver and that great staff. 2 locations, Odie's Tavern, Crestline, and now Edgewood.
Can I say something we did that we never got to yesterday? I'm also glad the other conspiracy theory died Sunday of that stupid Super Bowl logo color conspiracy theory.
Well, you could have done it the other way.
Which is the dumbest thing ever, but it died. So thank goodness
Taylor
it died.
Swift's latest album has a song called Lavender Haze. It's one of the biggest ones.
Yes.
So it's purple. So that's the purple.
Yeah.
And then the red is the 49ers.
But we're past that stupid. I thought that was one of the dumbest conspiracy theories I'd ever heard.
I agree with you. So we talked earlier about DJ Durkin being the Auburn defensive coordinator. A couple of Washington players on the move that did not come to Tuscaloosa as well. I'm not saying Alabama wanted them or missed them, but it's just weird or interesting seeing when these Washington players are on the move and it's not to Tuscaloosa. Washington offensive lineman Jerrion Hatchett is going to Oklahoma. And then they'd gotten a commitment, DeBoer's staff had, at Washington for a portal guy, 4-star edge rusher B.J. Green from Arizona State, who had 6 sacks and 12 tackles for a loss last year with Arizona State. But he was coming to Washington with DeBoer's exit to Tuscaloosa. He ends up picking up an offer and going to Colorado to play for Deion up in Colorado. Really interesting there.
Yeah, any chance he's going to Colorado if Deion's not there?
Nope.
I would say no.
Deion's a pretty big draw.
He was the number 7 defensive lineman in the portal, only 1 year of eligibility left. Interesting is that the former Alabama offensive lineman, and offensive line coach, Eric Wolford, who I thought did a pretty good job at Alabama, but he did not seem to be well loved by Alabama fans.
Well, I mean, I think some of the people that talk a lot about offensive line talked about the guy like he was the best in the business, and I just don't know that you saw that at Alabama's offensive line. That is maybe not all his fault, but he is the offensive line coach. So if they're off, I mean, would you say their offensive line has been really good?
No.
I played probably its best football at the back half of this season, and his time there was probably the best his offensive line had played.
I did think his 2 years there, they started recruiting better on the offensive line, and they got back to being a little bit more physical. But
I mean, everybody thought Caden Proctor was a can't miss. I mean, everybody in the world wanted that guy.
And I think he'll end up being
maybe
really
he
good.
will be. He played, again, better in the second half of the year this year.
Wolford is back at Kentucky, which I remember when he left.
Yeah.
There was some bad blood between him and Mark Stoops. But
was there?
Yeah, he's now back at Kentucky, which is surprising.
Well, that's where he played, right?
I don't know if he played there or not, but
he was beloved up there. I mean, it was. I remember when he left because he replaced. I think John Schlarman was the guy's name that passed away, unfortunately.
Exactly.
And that guy was very well thought of. Like Kentucky offensive line coaches have been like an underrated deal that everybody's like, man, these guys really, really coach well. So yeah, when he left Kentucky, it's a pretty big deal, I think.
We are getting to another big basketball weekend. We started to Stephen Pearl. We talked to Stephen Pearl earlier for you Auburn fans. If you want to get that podcast, wherever you get our video and audio podcasts, including Spotify and Apple. Lunsford, if you'll give me cut number 1, Nate Oates, after the win on Saturday against LSU, said something that I still believe to be true, even though last week was a great week for Alabama basketball. With the win over Auburn, and they backed it up with a win over LSU. They're now ranked in the AP poll, which he told us yesterday means nothing. All the metrics, as Pearl said earlier, have Alabama as a top 10 team. But Nate Oates, now with Alabama in first place in the SEC standings, had this to say about the race to be regular season champions again.
I do think this is a team that can win it, and we're going after it as hard as we can. But if we don't fix our defense and get the main guys in the rotation that are playing heavy minutes to be as concerned with the defense as the offense, it's going to be really hard to win it. Just, we do get Tennessee back at our place, but if we don't guard better, we're not going to be able to beat them. We got to go to Auburn yet. If we don't guard better, we're not going to win a road game at Auburn. There's some some other really good games on this. I mean, we got Kentucky yet. Like we got to play at Kentucky. If you don't guard, I mean, their offense is very high power, and they're playing really well on the offensive end for the most part. So our defense has to get better. If our defense gets to where we need it to get, we'll win a championship. If not, it's going to be hard pressed to do it.
Nate Oates there. I'll show you Lenardi's before yesterday's action. His seeding has Alabama on the 3 line, Auburn on the 4 line, but ahead of them on that 3 line, Purdue, who beat them this year, on the 1 line, Arizona's on the 2 line, Tennessee's on the 2 line, and Creighton is there with them just ahead of them on the 3 line. All losses for Alabama already this year, and all very physical basketball teams. It's the physicality that I thought they did a good job in beating Auburn, but they've got to still improve on that to win at Auburn, at Kentucky.
You know, there's a spell a couple of weeks ago where the defense seemed to be playing better. I don't know if you can just get more physical. Like, I think effort is a lot of on the defensive side of the ball. And, you know, Bama and Bourbon yesterday, me and Eric Suttles from Yale, Alabama, talked a little bit about that. If you guys want to catch that, I think Forster sent it out last night. Offensively, it's a dynamic team. I just don't know how much better they're going to get defensively.
I just for whatever reason was watching the end of the Bama-LSU game Saturday night and looked at their upcoming schedule. There is a path to 14-4 for this team,
which I think is what won it for them last year. Was it 14-4 or were they 16-2?
No, I think they were 16-2 last year. But 14-4 would have a chance at winning this thing. Tennessee's really good. I don't know if Tennessee will be much worse than 14-4.
Hard to see Tennessee losing 3 more conference games.
Yeah, but Alabama, so 14-4. So their remaining road games at Georgia, which that's coming up this week. Obviously,
tomorrow
night. At Auburn, which it's hard to envision them winning at Auburn. I mean, it would take their best game of the year to win at Auburn. At Kentucky, again, that's going to be a tough place to go win. It would take their best game of the year to win at Kentucky.
Yeah, lucky to be 1-2 on those in that run.
At LSU, now they just destroyed LSU, so
should win that one.
At Ole Miss, that is a tough road game. Ole Miss, pretty good team. At Florida, they got a home and home of Florida.
Florida's tough, and they're physical inside, big guys.
Their home games, Arkansas, Tennessee, which he just mentioned. I said a home and home of Florida. They got Texas A&M at home. You can find a 14-4 out of that. It would take playing really, really well in some of those games, but there is at least a path to it.
But if you don't get a little bit more better defensively, you could see 5 losses.
Yeah, but even 13-5. I mean, at 13-5, there's a good chance of the 2 seed in the SEC tournament.
Yeah. Interesting where they are. Analytics through the roof for Alabama. Tomorrow night on the road, 5:30 at Georgia, coming off a game where they hit 14 threes. Auburn at home against Vandy tomorrow night, coming off 2 games where they hit only 11 threes. But Stephen Pearl saying earlier, not worried about the 3 ball. Eventually they'll go in. Did not think they were. That surprised me when he said that. Was not upset with the number of threes they were taking at 25 and 24 in the last 2 losses. All right, that's basketball. To college football we go when we come back on the show that's being brought to you by our friends at A+. A+, the folks that changed the way the inside of Brown and LT's house looked.
Yeah, absolutely. So when my wife and I bought the house, we knew right away, back in 2015 was when we bought this house, that we wanted to redo the master bath. It just needed updated. We liked the darker tones. This was a very white bathroom. But we kicked the can down the road and spent that money elsewhere. And finally, Jennifer said, we are doing this. So she scoured the internet to find the right contractor. She talked to contractors, people that had used certain contractors. I'm certainly glad she did. She picked Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. Here is his number. I'll give it to you again at the end, but get ready. 205-422-1758. Go ahead and punch that in your phone and save it. 205-422-1758 for Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. Now, I will say this about Brad. He was up front. He gave us his bid. And he said, listen, you see a lot of these one-day bathroom remodels. They get it done quick. You are more than welcome to go get their quotes. But I'll go ahead and warn you ahead of time 2 things. Number 1, their quotes a lot of times are double what mine are. That was true. And number 2, a lot of times they'll just come in and they'll slap an existing shower, slap a new shower over the existing shower. And that is just disgusting, man. Well, I can't tell you if that's true or not because we never went with those people. We went with Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. But I trust Brad, and I've heard that from other people. Here is the number again. Anywhere in Alabama, he can help you. 205-422-1758. He did Lance's too. went from darker to lighter, and Lance has updated it just to show you that he's not locked in on one way of doing it. He does it the way you want it done. 205-422-1758. Brad Bell, A-Plus Tile Home Remodeling.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from the Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to the Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show always brought to you by Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling and the crew ready to serve you up lunch right there. Deep fried southern chicken, brined overnight, cooked to order, hot and piping when it comes out, hand-cut chicken fingers. I love their chicken finger basket. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales and so much more. Check it out, Highway 119 in Alabaster. It is champyschicken.com. We appreciate you guys so much. Kevin sent me the story from Sports Illustrated. You guys are now talking about it over in the chat room as well. But SI reporting that Tennessee appears to be facing some inquiries from the NCAA, possibly concerning their name, image, and likeness. Now, I've had a couple of athletic directors over the course of the last 18 to 24 months saying, my school, whichever one I'm talking to, we're playing it a little slower in the NIL world. We're trying to do it, a way that's set up long-lasting, maybe not as aggressive or fast as some schools. We've seen Florida's NIL come under scrutiny. Texas A&M has come under some scrutiny. And now apparently Tennessee is coming under some scrutiny for their NIL. And Brown, this is on the heels of that Jeremy Pruitt run.
Yeah, which just got resolved. It is, according to Pat Forty in Sports Illustrated, NCAA investigation. No letter of inquiry has yet been received by Tennessee. Major in nature, rules violation. Sources say that to Sports Illustrated. Involves multiple sports and includes scrutiny of NIL. So that is what Sports Illustrated is reporting. Other than that, the details are pretty scarce in this. And Pat even says that. Those are his exact words, actually. Details are scarce on what Tennessee is potentially facing in the latest case. But the school did acknowledge to Pat and Sports Illustrated that there is an ongoing investigation. The NCAA would not comment on that.
Yeah, NCAA rarely, if ever, comments on ongoing investigations.
Pat points out in his article at SI, they've got one of the more prominent NIL collectives, over 4,000 members in the Volunteer Club.
Wow.
And that The Athletic had reported, and I think a lot of people assume this is who it was, but The Athletic had reported that there was a five-star high school junior that had agreed to an $8 million NIL contract, but they never named him. And Pat says there's been speculation that Nico Iamaleava was that player. I think a lot of people have speculated on that. That's not to say that this deal is at the center of that, but I think that gets brought up because of the deal down at Florida with Rashada.
Yep.
Which, has Florida apparently in some hot water right now. So this is, that we know of, two NIL-related situations the NCAA is looking into in the Southeastern Conference, the one at Florida and the one at Tennessee.
Yeah, I just didn't know you could do anything that would I thought we were in a period of time, in a space that you could really not have a violation.
Well, and Tennessee is saying that. That is what their sources off the record are telling Pat, is that they have done nothing wrong, that the issue here are vague and contradictory rules that the NCAA has in place here. The people that are talking to Pat on the Tennessee side are saying, we're fine. It's the NCAA that is the issue here. They can investigate all they want. Their rules were too vague and contradictory.
That's right.
They didn't know what was going on.
In other words, the rule is not, all the way down to the nth detail of what you possibly could do if you live in the gray area of rules, as college athletics often has. That they didn't write the rule good enough, and that Tennessee feels like they're going to be okay. Should be pointed out that the Jeremy Pruitt years at Tennessee were major violations, but there was no postseason ban or any really major penalties for Tennessee because of their cooperation with that. And we'll see if they're cooperating here. It looks like they are, and we'll see what happens. A lot of people do not believe football programs will ever be banned from postseason action again.
Yeah, I don't think they will. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like, I think moving forward, the vast majority of the punishments are going to be financial in nature, just big fines. Well, first of all, I think moving forward, the major program's not going to be part of the NCAA anymore. That's going to be what is moving forward, is these big programs like Tennessee are going to separate into their own deal, and the NCAA will have absolutely no jurisdiction over them anymore.
I think the gray area will come. And again, I have definitely no more details than Pat does, who's reporting this at Sports Illustrated. But remember, Nick Saban seemed to be most upset 2 summers ago about Jimbo Fisher because it felt like they were luring recruits with already negotiated NIL deals, which some coaches thought were a violation, right? You shouldn't do that. You should wait until the player is there and then work out NIL deals. The Rashada deal,
which, by the way, is impossible.
Right.
Yep.
The Rashada deal looked like they were investigating because one kid was promised something and then it wasn't delivered on. And I would want the NCAA to investigate that. I would not want collectives out there promising things and then not delivering and backing it up, right? You'd want some oversight on this. This seems to be falling somewhere in between, that Tennessee, they're looking into whether or not they were luring kids there with an NIL deal.
Put me down in my prediction column here. This will be a bunch of nothing right here. Nothing will ever come of this investigation.
And I have long been, and even before we had NIL, I just don't think we should have rules when it comes to getting players to play for you. As long as you're not pulling out of taxed money that goes to universities that they tax us for. If it's big corporations and rich people who are paying players to come play for the schools, who does it hurt?
Yeah, as long as it's legal, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't, hey, look, my kid will come play for you if you take out this
Yeah, well, my mind didn't even go to that. I was just thinking of big corporations.
Well,
you just said no rules at all.
When players are employees of the athletic department, which is coming very soon, and you've got a salary cap on what the schools can actually pay them. Now, that's not going to affect what they can make off the field. And what we now call NIL, it'll just be endorsements.
Well, that's when you'll get cheating again, though.
Yeah, but you'll have a salary cap of what the school can actually pay.
Yeah, out of TV revenue.
Out of TV revenue. So the cheating will, what you're calling cheating, will come in saying, okay, Nico, I know Alabama says they can arrange for you to have $10 million in endorsements. We can arrange for you to have $15 million. By the way, that is not terribly unlike what happens in the NFL and the NBA.
No.
When I am deciding where I'm going to go, I am lured to bigger markets because the deals are bigger in the bigger markets.
Yeah, and the endorsements,
Yeah, the endorsements are bigger.
And, Tom Brady got patted on the back all those years for taking less money so they could spend on the salary cap. Mm-hmm. But Tom Brady was also making $1 bazillion in endorsement money.
Yeah.
So he didn't need the big contract from the Patriots.
That's right. So when all of this happens, I think, and that's when the NCAA will have no jurisdiction over college football. It will be its own business. That's when I think you'll never see stories like this again.
Yeah. NCAA investigation stories.
They're a dying breed, my friend.
Yeah, and I've never liked them, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over that.
You never liked them when they were actually had teeth to them, right? When a program could almost get the death penalty.
I couldn't stand one fan base getting excited about the other one, their rival being investigated by the NCAA. I just like when they play each other. I don't like when they're losing in court or in the boardrooms. Lunsford, if you can give me cut number 4. Dan Lanning was on the Ryan Russillo podcast, the Ryan Russillo Show, end of last week or over the weekend. Head coach at Oregon now. Listen to what he says about the Alabama job. And you would agree, by the way, that that Oregon roster is pretty good this year.
Oh, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is obviously this past year Dan Lanning's best roster. Next year, I even think you get an upgraded quarterback with Dylan Gabriel.
They'll be picked second in the Big Ten. Ohio State will be picked first. They'll be picked second.
And nobody will be shocked if in Indianapolis it's Oregon playing Ohio State.
A rematch.
In the Big Ten championship game, and then both of them are off to the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. They could face each other 3 times next year. Would not blow me away.
Here's Ryan Russillo asking Dan Lanning about possibly going to Alabama after the Saban retirement. Listen in.
Saban retires, everybody starts speculating. Was there ever a moment for you where you had to talk with your family about, like, I have to actually make a decision on this?
No. I mean, the decision was made long before the season started, long before I took this job. Oregon took a chance on me. I truly believe that this is a job that we can make the best job in college football. And when you feel that way, then let's put some blood, sweat, and tears and sweat equity into making that the job you think you can be. I'm living my dream. I'm at a place that I think we can accomplish every goal we want. I made a commitment to players. You sit down and people see the commitment, publicly, but they don't see when you sit down on a couch with a family and tell them that you're going to be here, what that looks like. Some coaches say that and it doesn't necessarily mean anything. For me, that means something. And I'm committed to being here. I got a 10-year-old. I got to get him through high school. And the only way that doesn't happen is I don't win enough. So to put my focus on something else other than Oregon football, that's going to be a distraction to us accomplishing that goal. So it was never really a thought in our mind. I love Coach Saban, and gosh, I can't tell you how much he's done for my career and where I'm at. But I think we can make Oregon the best job in college football, and that happens with focus on where we're at.
Boy, so for high school, that's 7 years at least to get the kid through high school.
Yeah, he has boxed himself in. Not that matters. You've heard coaches say that I would never leave, and then they leave the next day, so it's not that big of a deal. But I thought it was the right move for Dan Lanning, if in fact he was ever offered Alabama to stay in Eugene, because he can do something nobody else has done there. You can navigate the Big Ten much easier than you can right now in the SEC. I mean, really, the only team you fear, I believe, and I know Michigan just won a national championship, is Ohio State. I mean, Oregon could be the number 2 team for years and years to come, and the number 2 team is the top 5 team that plays in the college football playoff every year.
If, in fact, the job was even discussed with him and he already made that decision, even if it wasn't discussed, if he knew, hey, look, even if Greg Byrne rings my phone, I am not leaving here for Alabama.
Yeah.
Whether I'm offered the job or not, I'm not even going to let it get down the road.
And more likely, he told Jimmy Sexton, I have no interest.
Yeah. So even, no matter how that happened, if you're not willing to consider leaving for Alabama, how many places is he going to leave Oregon for? I mean, give me a job.
I don't think he will.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know. I mean, I think he's being pretty genuine here, right?
Yeah. But again, he's in his 30s. And if he continues to win, it probably will not be the last time he has to turn down a big SEC job. He may even somewhere down the road get offered the Alabama job again.
Yeah, but if he is going to college football playoffs year in, year out, I mean, they're going to be able to pay him as much as anyone else. I don't know if your family truly likes Eugene. Yep. I don't know a reason you would leave.
Yeah.
Ben Culpepper over in the chat room, I do agree. Biggest news of the day, Ryan Russillo's still got a show. I haven't heard that name in years.
On the Ringer, doing it from his kitchen.
He's in the Ringer.
Yeah.
Very, very popular podcast there on the Ringer, and that's Simmons's group, right?
Yeah, Bill Simmons.
Yeah, Bill Simmons still involved with that. Yeah,
that's what Grant Lamp became.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know what Dan Lanning. I think he probably stays at Oregon a long time. I don't know that he would have any interest in coaching in the NFL. You know, our buddy Josh Pate last night on his show. It was either last night or Sunday night. Brought this up is like there are far more college football coaches than you would imagine that are considering going to the NFL.
Yeah, that calendar.
Oh, I would have always chosen college over the NFL.
Yeah.
I would bolt in a minute for any of those NFL
and Josh
guys.
is one of those guys who knows that he knows a lot of these coaches. I mean, they've embraced his show. He's very well respected in this. We love having Josh on. You guys know that, but I'm not just saying it because of that. He is very well respected, so he knows these coaches. And he said that there are far more than you would imagine that are considering going to the NFL if given the opportunity.
Because the calendar is so well managed, the money can be equal, and just quality of life. It's just a better way to live than trying to outbid other people and hit the recruiting trail 365 days.
Yeah, like Dan Campbell. I mean, he's still working, but you know what Steve Sarkisian had to do the day after Oregon knocked them out of the playoffs? Start recruiting.
Yep.
I mean, it was in the private jet going to visit high schools and talk to recruits, and Dan Campbell ain't doing that today.
The show being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. One more thing this segment, in our final segment, by the way, today, after we do trash in the next segment, I've got a list of some teams that have never been to the college football playoffs, and they're going to fall somewhere around the preseason top 25 or just outside of it. And I want to ask you guys in the final segment whether you think they are real playoff contenders or not this upcoming year. That's to come up in our final segment. Tell us about Hemp Hill.
Yeah, winter is upon us, so is the cold, wet winter weather. Don't freeze in your own home. Get the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure that HVAC unit ready to keep you warm and toasty. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Call Hemp Hill Services. Hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
57.7 billion viewing minutes in 2023, breaking the record set by The Office in the previous year.
For this show, for one show.
57.7 billion viewing minutes in 2023, breaking the record set by The Office from the previous year.
And this is network?
Nope, this is it's a streaming service. Yeah.
Whew. I don't even know where to guess.
I'll go Friends.
But it's an old network TV show.
Friends?
Older network. I mean, recent years, but
okay.
It is not Friends.
It's not network. It wasn't a network show. It was a
you know
show.
the answer?
But it was a cable show. Okay, but it was over.
What cable network?
USA, I believe.
Oh, Suits.
It is Suits.
Is it really?
57.7 billion, and I tried to watch it with my wife.
I've
We
heard
watched the
it's
first
horrible.
3 episodes, and we could not get into it.
Jennifer and I started it too and didn't like it.
Yeah.
I heard it's really hokey.
I kept waiting for it to pick up and just never really did.
And Meghan Markle's got a big role in that, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 episodes could not. That was going to be. I forget what ended, and we were going to start watching that, and it had already been on a couple of years. But I noticed it. I think Netflix is where it pops up, and it's because of my algorithms. It's the first thing I can click on every time, and I have to go past it. 57.7 billion minutes. But it's a 45-minute show, though, right? So,
and it's got a handful of seasons, so everybody's been binging it.
I watched the first episode of that Dead Horses show that you liked.
Slow Horses?
Slow Horses, yeah. Well, once they slow down, they die.
They're not dead yet.
They're not dead yet, but they're getting slower.
Didn't like it?
First of all, you got to watch it with subtitles. Gary Oldman is impossible to understand without subtitles.
I love him as an actor, though.
I mean, no, he's playing a great role, but I'm just saying it is such a thick accent. I had to go subtitles.
Watch The Professional.
Is that good?
Oh, yeah.
Jennifer, it is one of the biggest...
I'm just saying, if you like Gary Oldman.
If this is the only thing we struggle with in our marriage, I'll thank God for that endlessly. But one of the biggest struggles in our marriage is finding things we both enjoy watching at the same time. It is hard to do.
The opening
Between
scene at the
seasons of
airport
Bridgerton.
did not draw you
It
in.
baited me in. Bridgerton is not back yet. We need season 3 back on that. We have enjoyed watching that together. The opening scene at the airport was fantastic, and it was, we were on the edge of our seats, and then, boy, it slows down after that. You're like,
well, it's
called Slow Horses.
well, I know, but I didn't know what that meant.
It's character driven.
Yeah, well,
which
maybe
True
it was
Detective Too Dark?
Huh?
True Detective Too
Oh,
Dark?
yeah, Jennifer would never go for that.
Yeah, I did watch the other 2 episodes. I said I was out, but it drug me back in. I can't figure out what's going to happen, though. I try to be like Brown and try to guess it, but I can't figure it out. All right, trash is when we come back.
Can I tell you one more reason? And this is a little bit of breaking news, not a huge story. One more reason why college coaches will jump to the NFL?
Why?
The Steelers have just hired Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator, which Arthur Smith's a really good offensive coordinator.
I'd be excited if I was Pittsburgh going from Matt Canada to Arthur Smith.
They're expected to, I should say, according to Tom Pelissero of the NFL. Once you get a job in the NFL, you got a job for life.
Yeah.
For life. And it may not be a head coach, but you're a coordinator for life.
No, it seems like it's worked out. DJ Durkin, when he lost his job, he's coaching everywhere.
It's a good point.
Never been without a job. Jimmy Lake's the defensive coordinator in Atlanta with Raheem Morris. So Jimmy Lake's leaving the Rams, going with Raheem. And I think their offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, was also a Rams guy.
Hey, look, man.
That staff.
When you're an elite head coach, you have guys leave every single year. You look at the coaches right now in the NFL.
That's what you want.
So I would imagine that is what happened with Todd Bowles this year. And we were in the Final Four, and we lost coordinator to be a head coach. Trash when we come back right here. The show being brought to you by our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Down a couple of more pounds, trying to get into shape this summer so I can enjoy being outside again. It's not always easy when you're on the road with little T covering college basketball like we've been. You know, we don't always eat fantastic. She orders a burger. I feel like an idiot ordering a salad, but Way to Wellness keeps me in line. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Just go to this website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. Jumpstart your weight loss right there. Maybe control your blood pressure numbers, cholesterol numbers with your diet. It all works out good. Leslie and her board-certified team will give you a free consultation, no contracts, no sign-up fees, and you get that first meeting with no out-of-pocket money. So why not at least check it out? Aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
Subscribe and set alerts at Disrupt the Media on YouTube.
Bandwagon wants to remind you that baseball and softball season is right around the corner, and their shelves are stocked with everything your kid needs. From grip tape to gloves to custom uniforms, Bandwagon has all the gear, big and small, for those ballpark days. Until February 3rd, you spend $100 on baseball or softball equipment, and Bandwagon will give you $20 off. Just tell them the next round sent you. Visit locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trustful, or go online to bandwagonsports.com. Next round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
This hour of the next round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
There are so many things I love about Walk-Ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-Ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with Walk-Ons. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
For more than 40 years, Red Wing Shoes has been helping the hardworking people of Alabama. This is why Red Wing Shoes has created the 3-step comfort solution. Step 1, a certified use a 3D scan to electronically measure your feet and arches. Step 2, the fit specialist helps you get the appropriate footwear for your occupation. Step 3, customize your boot or shoe with a Red Wing orthotic. Whether you have a high arch or flat feet, Red Wing has comfort solutions for you. So experience comfort at its best. Visit one of the Red Wing shoe stores located in Pelham or Trussville. Want more of The Next Round? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app. The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Back with you on The Next Round. Part of the show being brought to you by Dr. B. LT's going to tell you about that in just a second. By the way, the Patriots looking at not picking up the fifth-year option for Mac Jones. As we work through the Senior Bowl down in Mobile, there is a chance that he will, maybe be a part of a trade if they get the right offer there in New England. So that is something to keep an eye on if you're a big Mac Jones fan, his relationship with the Patriots and that new coaching staff. Dr. B brings you part of the show today. Tell us about Dr. B.
Yeah, our friend Dr. B. My hair has more than doubled in thickness since I went to see Dr. B almost 2 years ago. He also offers a Sensus transdermal infuser. This enables Dr. B to get various medicines and therapies into the scalp where the hair follicles are without using any injections. This is revolutionary, as Dr. B can pinpoint delivery of a patient's genetically specific products without any needles. Again, I do the non-invasive treatment 3 times, 30 minutes each time on the couch per week. That's all. Make the phone call that I made. Schedule the consultation with Dr. Beckenstein today, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
All right, we're getting ready to do sort of an ad-lib trash segment, a live edition coming up in a moment. But we got basketball happening tonight in the SEC. Tennessee at home as they play host to South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss tonight. Alabama at Georgia, Vandy at Auburn happening tomorrow. You can go back and listen to our conversation with Stephen Pearl, available wherever you get our podcast here. And we appreciate you tuning in today. Remember, thumbs up and such like that. Before we hit the trash open, look what they're about to build in Oklahoma City. It could become the country's tallest building in Oklahoma City. 1,907 feet tall, a skyscraper that's going to be the anchor for the Boardwalk Bricktown region in Oklahoma City. It's going to pass the One Trade Center in New York City. That is now the tallest building in the United States by a few hundred feet.
Yeah, but a little different is that skyline in New York, if you've been, is massive, and the one in Oklahoma City is not. So I moved out to Kansas to do play-by-play in May of '95, so the attacks were in April of that year. And so I went through Oklahoma City and the devastation. It was obviously an awful situation. And then I went back the year Alabama played Norman and saw the monuments and the memorials. Yeah,
that they'd set up. But to your point, not a lot of 1,000-foot skyscrapers in Oklahoma City to have one that's almost 2,000 feet, becoming the tallest in the country. That's projected, but that's part of a remodeled downtown area. They're going to be there. I never think of Oklahoma City and the tallest building in the country. I would have gone New York first, Chicago second.
That's right. And then after that, I really don't know.
After that,
maybe Houston,
maybe Dallas or Atlanta.
Dallas. Everything's bigger in Texas. So.
You don't build them that tall in Los Angeles for some reason.
Earthquakes would be that reason.
Earthquakes. I didn't want to say it.
That'd be a big reason. Yeah,
I didn't want to say it. All right, trash is brought to you by Mortgage Right. Hit the big button, Lunsford.
Well, shit. What are y'all doing? This is awful. It's still March. How many days in March?
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages, done the right way.
Buying a home, major milestone in life, getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. That's why we're proud to partner with our friends at Mortgage Right, who do mortgages the right way. 205-815-9200. You can apply online, mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. It's normally sent to me. Kind of slipped through the cracks, and I don't have trash today, so...
I think I can piece this together. If you don't mind me guiding it real quick, just getting you be a reaction guy today.
Where did you get it?
It's just on the fly here. I think I've got 3 stories that are
Okay, but she
trashworthy.
said she's got a really good question,
Okay,
too.
well, you go with the question first. If we need the story. So behind the scenes, Rockstar normally puts trash together. In his absence, Tyler does. They both have the flu. So
That's right.
Nobody did trash.
Okay, so I don't know if I would consider it a really good question, but
Well, you know, question of the day.
Yeah, so this is the one that I think that we could have the most fun with.
All right.
If you got arrested, who would you, within our coworkers, who would you feel most comfortable calling to bail you out? Monetarily, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Just picking up the phone, who would you be?
It's easily Lance for me.
Because I've got experience.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, but I would go, it would be instantly like this. I'd call Lance. I've only got one phone call.
Yeah.
So
you've run into a problem already.
Yeah.
Will he come pick you up?
No.
What Lance would what Lance would do if I was able to get him on the phone.
There's your problem.
Yeah, but that doesn't count as a phone call if he doesn't answer. I get to call a friend at that point.
It only counts as a phone call.
But I would call Lance. Lance first off would either have experience or experience close enough to where he could walk me through what I need to do. And he would be
Tommy
like,
Spina.
first we need
Well,
to...
it depends on what he's done.
That's right.
Tommy Spina.
The first thing would have been, well, I need a lawyer. And he would go, Tommy Spina.
Yeah, absolutely.
That worked well for you once.
What have we done? What is the crime?
Yeah.
I mean, nothing.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm going to call you, and you're gonna.
That probably does play into it. I didn't really think this out.
You're going to say,
if you were caught dismembering a body,
but you're going to say, I'm going to call Spina, and Spina will find out what's going on and recommend a lawyer for you. The second time, you would arrange bail for me, whether it's your own money or who can step up for that. You would call Maggie and get that situation straightened out.
You're mapping this out in case it happens this afternoon.
That on a misdemeanor, the bail is immediate.
Yeah.
I mean, you pay it right there.
But I just believe that you could big picture this thing and call the right people. I think you have those people in your phones. So you'd be easy call for me.
I would probably call Taylor because the problem is you're not up though.
Yeah, I might be asleep.
I don't know who would be up. I mean, I guess Dunaway.
Well, I'd be awake, but I would first say, Lance, what are you doing? Why did you do that?
Because you're the only one awake.
It would come with a lecture. No, I would be like, why did you make this choice?
If
Why
it
did you
was
get arrested?
before midnight, I would call Reed. After midnight, I don't know who I'd call.
I'd be a waste to call after midnight because I'm asleep. My phone's on silent.
If it was a Friday or Saturday, I'd call you because there's a good chance you're out.
Yeah, and probably not sober though.
Well,
that might help.
You can grab an Uber and come get me.
Yeah. I would try my hardest.
Let my friend out.
So all bail, you only have to post 10%, right?
10%, yeah.
Okay. So my only issue with Lance, I think Lance is a good choice here, is Lance does not answer his phone. I don't call Lance. Like if I need Lance, I text him and say, hey, call me when you can. That's the way I'd get in touch with Lance.
That's because it's always on silent.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, mine is too. And I answer my phone probably 50% of the time. Now, if it's one of y'all, if I'm not doing anything else, I'll always answer. Yeah, I should say always. I want to dial that back.
Yeah, I wonder if it's more difficult to bail people out now because, with the old hard line, everybody in the house heard that thing ring.
Oh, I know.
Right.
Yeah, we got do not disturb now.
Yeah, and again, mine's just on silent, so I wonder how difficult it is to get bailed out of jail now.
So Rusty sleeps with his ringer on, which I do not. He
I
says
don't
just a
either.
case of this. I don't know who Rusty's hanging out with.
No.
But Kevin says his phone is do not disturb at 10. But anybody that is a favorite can call and it rings at any time.
And that's how mine is set up.
We need to do that just in case something was
Somebody gets
Okay,
busted.
let's let Lance try and figure out how to do this on his phone.
Yeah, can you set up your favorites?
But that's the way mine is set up. And the ringer is on at night in case the kids call.
Yeah.
They're out of the house.
So when you text somebody and it says they have do not disturb on.
Yeah, better known as all the time with Taylor.
Yeah, every text I send a little T, I get that back.
Well, that's because my iPad, all my notifications come through here. So if my friends start texting about some Taylor Swift's at the football game and everyone starts freaking out, and so it's something that I don't really need to see.
But what if
I don't
it
want
is
it
something you
popping
need
up.
to see?
Well,
I check, and if I see a text from one of y'all while y'all are in here, I look at it immediately.
But I was going to ask, you've got the option where I can press the button. It says deliver quietly. Do you guys always press that or no?
Nah.
Y'all can press that.
No, not with you. I do it with you, but I'm just talking like normal people.
Oh, when I need them, absolutely. I always hit that option. Yeah.
Okay. Like, I don't know what that means, deliver quietly. Like, my phone's always on silent. Lunsford, what does that mean, that I deliver a text quietly?
I guess it doesn't make any noise. Like, it'll notify, but it's not going to vibrate or, like, actually say anything.
Okay, so back to your question. Have you guys ever had somebody call to get you out? I have.
I have not.
I have one time. It was a Super Bowl Sunday. We'd gone out to 5 Points the night before.
Awful timing.
He had had some cocktails, and we both had different people riding back to our house at Sherwood Forest.
Different people.
And he drove faster than I did, and he got pulled over. And I passed him. Got him going. He got a DUI. I swung back and picked up his car mate and took her to the house as well.
Wow.
And
wow. Interesting development.
She slept on the couch.
The rest is history.
I was in my single days.
That's how I met your mother.
But the next morning, I mean, they don't let you. I mean, he's got to sleep in the
until
jail
he sobers
for a while.
up.
Right,
Yeah.
until he sobers up. And I went back, and I luckily was a landowner and I didn't have the hard cash back then, but I was able to
you can put a lien on your property.
On my property to get him whatever the bail was.
You don't remember what you had to pay?
I don't. I think his bail was $5,000, so I would have needed 500 cash. This was back in my bad gambling days.
I didn't have it.
I didn't have 500 cash.
I got the Jayhawks laying 3 tonight, though. If that hits,
I'll remember. So
we're good.
So this is going to sound bad, but I haven't been arrested in close to 30 years.
That does not sound bad at all.
So the last time I was arrested, I was in Adamsville, and I was riding back into Birmingham from Smith Lake with a friend, and he got pulled over. And he was in the process of getting a DUI, and I decided to get out of the car just to go. It was such a long process.
Yeah, they don't like you to get out of the car.
Yeah, bad
I went and sat on the curb, and he was like, "We're charging you with public intox." And I'm like, "I'm not doing it. I'm sitting on the curb." So they charged me public intox. They took me in, and I remember he got bailed out rather quickly. And it was Mother's Day weekend of 1995, and I was 96, and I was there for almost 2 days.
You stayed in lockup for 2 days?
Yeah.
Well, it was Shelby County Jail or Jefferson
Adamsville.
County? So it's Jefferson County Jail.
Yeah, I mean, I had my own cell. It wasn't.
It was in Adamsville? What'd you do to piss off Barney that he kept you in there for 2 days?
I told you, dude, got a DUI. I got outside on the curb.
So Adamsville City Jail?
Yeah.
That was city police?
Yeah. Like so the only time I've been in a situation with multiple guys is when I got taken to Birmingham downtown, and that was like in 92.
Yeah.
And I spent the night down there, but that was a different experience.
What was the food like?
In Adamsville, it was a Jack's bologna biscuit for breakfast. I think it was bologna.
Oh, so you ordered out?
Well, that's all they had. They brought me a biscuit in.
Yeah, and somewhere that guy was like, we could do this every house. We could call it DoorDash.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's all you ate was a bologna biscuit the whole time you were there?
Yeah. I'll never forget Twister came out that weekend because my buddy that got bailed out, the guy got me in trouble. His girlfriend came again. They were going to see Twister. And I'm like, damn, I'm sitting in Adamsville. And then I had to appear in court in Adamsville like a couple of weeks later.
So when you go to county or city like that, you just keep your same clothes on. You don't have to do the jumpsuit and all that.
Yeah, I don't even think I did the jumper when I spent the night in Birmingham. I don't think so.
Did you have? I
got out first in that one, and it was the same situation. I got a public intox. This dude got a DUI, and I'll never forget. I went to get him. He had a Boston Celtics hat on when we got arrested, and when he came out, he had a Marlboro hat on. And I said, "What happened to your Celtics hat?" And he was like, "Apparently, one of these guys was a big Celtics fan, so he took my hat and gave me his."
Okay,
Don't ask for it back.
Yes, sir. I'll wear this. That's pretty funny. So, and did you didn't have to appear for a judge or anything. Like, they just held you till somebody bailed you out.
Oh, yeah. No, so I got bailed, and then I had to go back and appear before the...
So they just automatically set your bail. Public intox, you got arrested, your bail
was like
X.
$1,000.
Right.
And you get that back once you appear in court.
Okay.
Yeah.
You couldn't find anybody to bring $1,000 up there and bail you out?
No, it was pre-cell phones.
Yeah.
That was one of the problems. And we had come back in town. It was when Bethany and I were living in California. I don't know exactly where she was, so I was having a hard time getting somebody on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jim, you've never been arrested.
Not since high school.
Hitting mailboxes, right? That's what got you.
Yep. And they made the call for me to my parents.
Oh, yeah. They called James Sr.?
Which was probably a good chance Mom and Dad came out of from a establishment to come pick me up.
Yeah, they used to do that a lot. I don't know if they still do that because of liability, but there were countless times in high school and even early college where we'd be sitting on a curb, outside of a bar, cops sitting there waiting, and parent after parent would come get different people.
Buddy,
one at a time.
Oh, yeah.
So
Chuck was pissed.
So my wife's senior year at Sachs, which was my freshman year at Jack State, I went to prom with her, right? And I've told you guys this story, but everybody takes limos to prom. And all these limos start showing up, and for whatever reason, the city of Anniston had decided to do a business license check on these limo companies. So they were checking the business license of all these limos. Guess what they found in almost every limo?
Alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Alcohol and underage drinkers. So they all, in their tuxedos and prom dresses, get taken down to Anniston City
What about
Jail.
the driver of the...
They got popped too, but they got the kids, the driver, everybody.
Yeah, worst prom ever.
Yeah,
Empty
it
prom.
was like half full. And I'll never forget all they did was take the kids down there, scare them to death, and call the parents, right? And I'll never forget one of my best friends. I was like, I bet you were happy when they called your dad. He was like, hell no, I wanted them to keep me.
Yeah.
It was like the last thing I wanted to do was go home last night.
What about you, Taylor? Who do you call?
I don't know. That's why I haven't asked the question yet, because I don't even have an answer for it myself.
It's got to be Lance. Lance is the correct answer.
I would say I think you would get not emotional, but you would get like panicky.
Oh, I would. I'd call everybody. We'd show up. There'd be 11 of us at the courthouse.
Okay, yeah. So you are off the list.
Yeah.
I think either of y'all would stay relatively calm. Just
Who,
because,
me?
because I'm not your kid.
Yeah, unless you've decapitated somebody, I'm not going to be
You're
sure.
very close to my kid, though. I view you like a daughter. Somebody mistook you for my daughter.
I wouldn't get grounded,
Yeah. I'm just going to be asleep when you call, unless you get arrested, in the middle of the day.
Yeah, that's right. I honestly could see, which I think Forrester said he would be asleep. I could see him staying calm. I could see anyone.
Forrester's kids are not out of the house yet, so he does not keep his ringer on.
Right. If it was late at night.
Best play may be
Lance.
if you can't get Lance, call me, and then I will panic and call everybody else. So I will get somebody to help you.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll be the
you got to call somebody that's actually got the experience. I'll never forget this goes back to the Flints. One of the Flints, we used to go hot tub jumping as a group to different apartment complexes, and we were in this apartment complex in Homewood called Hickory Knoll, and it was me, it was one of the Flints, and I think one other guy and two girls. And the cops came, and so we all just took off running. Well, him and one of the girls got busted, so his dad had to come bail him out that night. And he was so calm because he'd done it before. He was like, hey, Michael, you want to get in the back seat with your girlfriend? And so, Dad didn't even care. He had done it so much.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's rough.
I can't imagine getting to that point.
No.
Well, it is kind
of,
you are technically trespassing, but it's 2 a.m. at hot tub.
I'll tell you another issue with me. I never answer a phone call that I don't have the number saved in my phone.
Does it not say county?
I guess
how sometimes under it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it would say county jail. There's a chance maybe I answer a call from that says county jail.
It says spam risk on it.
Spam risk. There's zero chance I'm answering that.
Yeah, no way I'm getting a call from county. Real quickly, Forrester, Lunsford, who do you call? Forrester, you first. Who do you call? Got to call someone up here. You can't call Debbie.
Jim, I'm probably calling you.
Wow, Dunaway.
Only because I'm going to panic and call 100 other people.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see the whole team escorting you out. What about you, Lunsford?
If it's before 10 o'clock, 12, after that, probably Lance.
Yeah.
Because he'll go to sleep.
You made a lot of lists here, Lance. A lot of people are calling you.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. Probably a negative.
You're trustworthy.
He doesn't wear black for no reason. I'm up a lot, though. There's a good chance I will get
You'll
somebody to help
answer.
you out. Yeah. I could be like the service that answers. All right, I'll direct your call.
Well, you live so close. As long as you answer, you could come to my house.
That's
and
right.
Then we could just go together.
All right, I can forward your call to LT's right now. I'll take care of that for
That
you.
is an interesting question.
Yeah,
of
good
the day.
question, little
Thank
T.
you. Brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, buying a home, major milestone in life, getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. That's why we're proud to partner with Mortgage Right, 205-815-9200 or online mortgageright.com.
Okay, I'm bad about this. 14 years undefeated me doing this. I think every now and then we should just do this instead of trash.
To like a little T question of the day?
Yeah, every now and then.
Oh, I'm completely fine with
random.
it.
Yeah,
right.
instead of a normal
I'm sure
trash.
Rocky would be fine with it too.
All right, so this hour brought to you by Champies. When we come back, I've got a list of teams that'll be in the top 25 or close to the preseason top 25 that have never been to the playoffs. You tell me real contenders for an expanded playoffs now to be the first team in. ChampiesChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster, bringing you this hour of the show. Go see Sterling. Have a great lunch today, including those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It's all right there at ChampiesChicken.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, February 2nd through 4th at the BJCC. See classic cars and hot rods, custom trucks and motorcycles. Friday, meet WWE legend Mick Foley. Saturday, meet Dave Kindig from Kindig Designs. And Sunday, meet Jerry Mathers, the Bee from Leave It to Beaver. Plus, feature cars like the Batmobile and General Lee. Kids, meet your favorite costume characters and race Hot Wheels on the free Hot Wheels drag track. Don't miss the Super Show with one-of-a-kind vehicles from across the country. Get your discount tickets today at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Get details at worldofwheels.net.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By the way, as we get ready for the Super Bowl, not this weekend, but next, Andy Reid said they did not make up the injury to Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney says he's lying. Instagram Live before the game this weekend, he said he wasn't hurt, doesn't know why he's not active. They're making up my injuries. Andy Reid saying we did not make it.
I'm going to believe Kadarius Toney.
Well, I mean, couldn't they just make him a healthy scratch? They don't have to make an injury up, do they? There's no penalty for him being a healthy scratch.
Yeah, I would say that there is a good chance that Kadarius Toney may find out very quickly what it's like to not get a paycheck.
Yeah, I mean,
you wonder if
they're
this,
doing you a favor by making you a scratch and you're still getting your normal paycheck.
Correct.
Was this a 1-year deal and he's already been told you're not going to be on the Super Bowl roster?
It just sounds like that they were going to make him a healthy scratch, but out of a courtesy to him, they made him an injury scratch.
Right.
And just so he didn't look awful. And now he's coming on. No, I look that bad. I was a healthy scratch. That's how bad I've been this year. In the biggest game of the year, they did not. Yeah. They didn't want me anywhere near the football, so they scratched me.
I will tell you that JohnstonRVCenter.com is bringing you this final segment of the show. Well, we're about to expand to 12 teams in the playoffs. I got some of these Power 4 conference teams, and we're going to rank those. Tell us about JohnstonRVCenter.com as you tell me playoff contender or not.
All right, here we go. Johnston RV Center is right there on I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. I want to focus right now on the Decatur store, the 334 exit there. They are doing their on-site RV show, which means great deals for you, and it also means a chance to RSVP and get an even better deal. Go to this website. Here's the website, JohnstonRVCenter.com/TNR. That is JohnstonRVCenter.com/TNR. RSVP and get up to $1,000 in incentives on top of the already low prices. So you save even more, $1,000 in incentives up to JohnstonRVCenter.com/TNR. That is going on right now. 10 years of business. That means they've been doing it really, really well, but they got a long way to go there at Johnston RV Center. They're not going anywhere. They are killing it right now. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. That on-site show going on right now and always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com. To get those incentives, just add a /TNR to JohnstonRVCenter.com/TNR.
I've got 7 Big 12 teams here because that conference hadn't had a lot of.
And somebody's got to be there this
playoff
year.
Teams, and somebody has to be there. So quickly through the Big 12, Utah.
Cam Rising coming back. I mean, look,
they could
always
easily
going
do
to
it
be really
this year.
good. Yeah, defensively.
Easily this year.
Oklahoma State.
I mean, Oklahoma State was a sneaky 10-win team this year.
Yeah, I believe only one of these will make it, but one of them will make it.
Yeah.
By rule. Arizona seems like they've lost some steam.
Yeah, I couldn't see that.
Kansas?
No. Don't even have a stadium this year.
Now, Kansas did win 9 games and ended up being ranked.
Iowa State?
Nope.
Kansas State?
Yep. Kansas State, 11 wins 2 years ago, 9 wins this year under Kleiman. I think it's going to be one of those 3, Kansas State, Utah, or Oak State.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I've got West Virginia on the list, too. They're going to be borderline
Neil
top
Brown
25.
he took a step forward. I think playoffs would be asking a lot.
Yeah.
One ACC team has to make it. These are the ones that are quote-unquote contenders that have never been. Remember, Florida State and Clemson have been to playoffs before. Louisville, NC State, and Miami.
It's going to be so hard. They're really going to have to win the conference to do it in all likelihood. The odds of the ACC getting 2 teams in is pretty low.
Same with the Big 12, in my opinion.
Big 12.
Yeah, and Louisville, had the benefit of that really weak schedule this year.
I think they're better rosterized this year.
But they still lost 4 games in the ACC. I don't know. Miami should be your answer, but for whatever reason, nobody can get that thing, get it between the rails.
I think Miami has a challenging out-of-conference, if I remember this year, Lance. I know they played Florida. I thought they played I'm incorrect about that. They only played Florida. I thought they played somebody else tough out-of-conference, but Florida's their main out-of-conference game, and it's the season opener.
Boy, that is a big game for both Billy Napier and Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, there is no doubt, and that because you feel like it's a tone setter for the loser.
Well, you feel
maybe
like
the winner too.
If I'm a Florida fan, here's what I look at: if we would have had a 12-team playoff this past year, Missouri would have been in it.
Yep.
The year before, Tennessee would have been in it. If I'm a Florida fan, how in the hell are Tennessee and Missouri having better seasons than we are? And if you lose to Miami and then you've got a SEC schedule, you've got no shot at doing anything.
100%.
Are you going to bring Florida up? I'll hold it if you are.
SEC coming up. But in the Big Ten, remember Ohio State, Michigan, Washington, and Oregon have all been. So in the Big Ten, these 4 contenders that have never been to the playoffs: Penn State, Iowa, USC, Wisconsin.
I mean, Penn State's the obvious answer because I think there are probably, I'd have to go back and look at this, Lance. There's probably a couple of years Penn State would have been in a 12 team.
Well, I think USC is going to be your answer, though.
That's true, yeah. But Penn State would have already been in a couple of these, I think, Jim. James Franklin just cannot beat a top 25 team. course, now in the Big 12, or in the Big 10 now, the new Big 10 used to not be, a top 10 team meant you only lost to Ohio State and Michigan. And you could finish 10-2 and look really good, and you've only got 2 losses to Ohio State and Michigan. Anymore now, that expanded Big 10, Oregon's going to be a consistent top 10 team, I think. USC should be if Lincoln Riley can get his crap together. And Ohio State and Michigan aren't going to be out of the top 10 very often. So, there's far more top 10 teams you got to get through now.
And keep in mind, Big 12 and ACC likely one-bid leagues, in my opinion.
I agree.
As is the group of 5. But third, maybe fourth place in the Big 10 could get you in this thing. Same with the SEC.
Yeah, the cards have to fall right for fourth place.
So if I said this year, you still think USC over Penn State or any of these others for this upcoming year?
I don't know. Look, Lincoln Riley could flip this roster quickly.
Yep.
Their lasting impression, putting 42 on Louisville in that bowl game. Miller Moss looked really good. I don't know.
In the SEC, I remember the ones who played in the playoffs, those that should be in the top 25 or around it. Ole Miss, Missouri, who will be highly ranked. Tennessee, A&M, Kentucky, Florida, Auburn have not been in the college football playoff.
I think, oddly, in the first year of the college football playoff, both Missouri's and Ole Miss's fan bases are going to be disappointed if they're not in it.
They do. All off season, they'll be projected as a 12-team playoff team.
And I think one of those two will get in.
Probably so. It's hard to say not having seen the expanded SEC yet and what all that's going to look like, but we're in a world where, this just shows you about the expanded playoff, where Ole Miss and Missouri's, both their fan bases at the same time will be disappointed if they don't make the playoffs. I don't think we've ever been in that situation before.
I think it's Missouri, actually. They've got a game that probably is not winnable in Tuscaloosa, but outside of that, they could win every single game.
Yeah, and a very weak out of conference.
And I think 10-2 gets Missouri in. Would you guys give me that? Just because where they probably start.
Again, now I just said it though, Lance. Very weak out of conference. They're going to need some good conference wins because they're out of conferences. Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, and UMass.
You're saying a tough schedule team that's 9-3 or another 10-2 would get in ahead of Missouri.
Well, here's what I see with Missouri, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I think they finished number 12. There's their schedule over there. Forster just pulled it. They finished, I think they'll be preseason top 15. They should open with that schedule, worst case 5-1. So I think if you're 5-1, you're still in the top 15. And then if you have one loss down the stretch, there's some tricky games at South Carolina, Auburn at home.
Yeah. Weird road game at UMass. Not that they're going to lose that, but what are you doing?
I think they're 10-2.
But to your point, they should be 6-0 or 5-1 if they lose at A&M. When they play Auburn.
Yeah, and when they're 4-0 going to A&M, if they start in the top 15, they could be in the top 10 by then.
Yep, even though they were playing nobody.
Yeah.
Just by winning in their preseason ranking.
In front of
but to your point, with a selection committee, a really tough schedule, 9-3, might get in over a 10-2 Missouri that just does not have a good win to hang their hat on.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see how this 12-team thing works out. But those are the teams that are around the contender top 25 range in the Power 4 conferences that have never been to a college football playoff. Now it's expanded. We'll see if they can get in. Thanks for being part of the show today. Remember, DJ Durkin's the new defensive coordinator at Auburn. Mark Sears is your SEC Player of the Week in basketball. We'll talk more tomorrow on the show about Bama's big basketball game on the road at Georgia and Auburn being back home, and a lot more college football. Until next time, though, God bless you and God bless America.